For the Boston Celtics, it has been the kind of year teams dream about. Nightly clinics on how the game should be played. The architect, Larry Bird, arguably the NBA's best all-round performer. But Bird's 30 points took a backseat to the clutch second-half shooting of Dennis Johnson in the Celtics' first game playoff victory. Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls put on a memorable individual display in the opening game of the series. Virtually every move Jordan made proved successful. No matter who the Celtics tried, Jordan had the answer. A supreme effort that translated into 49 brilliant points. But when it ended, Michael Jordan and the Bulls came up short. Today is game 2. Again, it's Bird and Jordan, two great stars of the NBA. Square off in Boston, the backdrop, as the Celtics and the Bulls go at it once more in the playoffs. It is the first week of the NBA playoffs, and this is game 2 of the best-of-5 first-round action, and the Celtics will try to make it 2 in a row over the Bulls before the 262nd consecutive sellout in Boston Garden. Looking at the Eastern Conference playoff fight, Atlanta already has a 2-0 lead. Milwaukee will try for 2 in a row against New Jersey later today, and Philadelphia will try to rebound from a stunning loss to Washington on Friday night. And hello again, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton, and welcome to the NBA on CBS. Well, the Boston Celtics won more games than anyone this year in the league. They had the biggest winning streak at 14. They have won more championships, as everyone knows, at 15. But perhaps the most impressive number was their fantastic and astounding home court record, 40-1. And 31 consecutive games to finish the season in the regular year, and then they beat Chicago in the first game. Tommy Heinsohn will be inducted into basketball's Hall of Fame on May the 6th, who played for the Boston Celtics. On this very floor, this team apparently has no weaknesses. Is that true?
They have a very strong inside game, Dick. Multiple low-post players, Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, Bill Walton, Larry Bird. Very difficult to stop. Timely defense, team defense, the best kind. So they're very difficult to stop. Outside shooting, they've got it all.
Now the Chicago Bulls, with over 50 losses, 52 to be exact, the worst record of any team in the playoffs, but they have a good excuse. They never really found an identity this year. All kinds of injuries, suspensions. Michael Jordan, the biggest one. He went down with a broken left foot on the third game of the year, missed 3/4 of the season. But did he light up this place on Thursday night with a brilliant 49-point effort? Jordan, is he single-handed for Chicago? What's the story there?
Too much for one man to try and beat the Boston Celtics. Other players have to get involved. Michael Jordan scored half their points in the first half on the other night, and they end up 2 points down. That's astounding. But it's too draining an experience, and they must put pressure on the other Celtic defenders by getting the likes of Dave Corazine, Kyle Macy involved, as well as Orlando Woolridge.
All right, so that's the story right here, and Pat O'Brien is with the man who lit up the place, Michael Jordan.
Thank you, Dick. Michael just got a nice round of applause here. The question is, can one man beat the Lakers, or do we need a more diversified attack today?
Well, we're playing the Boston Celtics, Pat, but I think it's going to be more of a 5-man game, and we really have to play a complete basketball game. I don't think one man can beat the Boston Celtics.
It's hard to imagine that 6 weeks ago you were sitting on the bench.
Yes, it is. It's very hard for me to imagine. I'm very happy I'm playing now, and I'm very happy that I can contribute to the team.
All right, thank you. Good luck today. You don't have to remind me again that you are playing the Boston Celtics. Air Jordan's getting ready to take off. The problem is the runway is in Boston, so strap yourselves in. This is the NBA on CBS.
The starting lineups for game 2 are the same as they were for game number 1. Starting out with the Chicago Bulls. Their leading scorer, Orlando Woolridge, up front. Top rebounder, rookie Charles Oakley, and veteran Dave Corazine. In the backcourt, Michael Jordan and Kyle Macy, the playmaker, and Stan Albeck in his first year as coach of Chicago. For the Boston Celtics, their front court of Kevin McHale, Larry Bird, and Robert Parrish, all amongst the league leaders in scoring and shooting. And in the backcourt, Dennis Johnson, the catalyst on defense, Danny Ainge. Casey Jones, another marvelous job as coach of the Celtics. Jake O'Donnell and Jack Middleton are the officials, and Jack Nees will be the alternate. And we're underway here. The Celtics in white, the Bulls in red, and Boston controls. Dennis Johnson will check the matchups, guarded by Jordan inside McHale, and McHale gets a quick hoop inside.
Stan Albeck hoping that their center, Dave Corzine, will be able to muscle Kevin McHale, take his inside game away from him.
But the Celtics have a definite size advantage over the Chicago Bulls, who may be a little quicker, but they prefer not to run. At least they didn't in the first game. Jordan misses, and McHale gets the rebound. Danny Ainge had a fine year. Larry Bird, guarded by Woolridge. And Corzine gets the rebound for Chicago. Amazingly, in the regular season, in the season series, the Bulls had an edge in offensive rebounding over the Celtics. Not many teams can claim that.
Oakley and Sidney Green, two real quick board bangers.
Green starts in off the bench. Parrish blocks, and they're going to call goaltending against Robert Parrish and credit Michael Jordan. So it looks already as if the Celtics are going to give a lot of help to Michael Jordan.
The first defense against Michael Jordan is Dennis Johnson. He's got to try and keep him out of the middle and angle him off the hoop a little bit.
They tried 5 different players on Jordan. Ultimately, he got a bit fatigued. Not before 49 points, however. Dennis Johnson with 7 in a row at one stretch in the third period, misses here.
One of the things I was looking for early, Dick, is the tempo of the game by the Bulls to try and get some fast break opportunities.
Jordan found his way in once again and has his second basket. All 4 points in the early going, and a minute and a half has transpired. McHale guarded by Corzine. Toughest matchup in the league, maybe. That's why.
Corzine does not have the foot speed to stay with McHale, who gives power forwards, much quicker players, a lot of problems.
Last year he was the 6th man until the playoffs. Cedric Maxwell gone from the scene with the Clippers, and so McHale was the starter this year. Nearly 2 minutes elapsed. Corzine, good pass from Jordan inside with Parrish with a block shot. Good pass, but Parrish was there.
That was an attempt to get Corzine involved.
Parrish guarded by Oakley, and a big size edge there. Goes up, and Corzine with a fine play just stuffed Parrish. And Chicago coming back in a tie game. Jordan with a move on Johnson, blocked by McHale. And already you see that everyone is going to take a hand, as Stan Albeck sees too, in trying to help Dennis Johnson guard Michael Jordan.
If Michael Jordan gets by Dennis Johnson, the other Celtics are going to clog up the lane, it looks like.
What should Jordan do in that case?
Look, either put it off the glass and hope that one of his freer players can get an offensive rebound, or make a direct pass to one of those free players.
Bird, good position inside. Gets it out to Ainge. McHale again. McHale with another basket. McHale has 6, and Jordan has 6, and we're tied with those numbers.
Corzine, with all his beef, is still letting Kevin McHale get the sweet position down and close to the hoop.
Nearly 3 minutes gone by, opening period, and we're tied. Orlando Woolridge, long range. Woolridge scored 37 points and had a tremendous game in the one game the Bulls beat the Celtics in the regular year.
They did it with fast break basketball, Dick, and I think that's where Orlando is at his best, out on the open court. In the first game, the Bulls did not use that speed advantage at all.
Parrish scored after McHale's miss. Celtics known for getting the ball down court in a hurry in a lot of ways. Jordan short there. Inside, Oakley fights his way. Tipped up and finally drops in. May have been Corzine, and it was. And we'll have a foul against Chicago. Dave Corzine commits the foul.
Well, Corzine, an attempt right here as trying to take away position, but you can't let Kevin McHale get that close to the hoop.
McHale misses the shot. And here's Jordan over to Woolridge. Woolridge averaged 29 against the Celtics this season. McHale the rebound out to Ainge. Chicago getting back defensively.
Corzine had a great inside position on a rebound, but didn't use it.
Ainge throws the ball into the third row, and Casey Jones, who has won 60 or more games 4 times. Both teams shooting well in the opening moments. 8:07 on the clock. Chicago by 2. McHale finds Parrish, and Oakley fouls him. What can you do realistically, Tommy, when you have a 6'9" Oakley and a Corzine who's 6'11", but not a big 6'11", against the likes of McHale, Parrish, and later on Walton?
What they're trying to do, Stan Albeck, is put experience against Kevin McHale and Dave Corzine, knowing that the Celtics don't like to use Parrish. He's their second low post option, hoping that the Celtics won't use that against Oakley to take advantage of his inexperience.
Here's Parrish, who symbolized the size edge with a 14 rebound average against the Bulls in the 6 games during the regular year.
I think that matchup, Parrish against Oakley, is their saver matchup. Whenever they really have some problems, they may go to that one.
We're tied at 10. Game has been tied 5 times. Corzine moving outside. Bird guarding him, if you want to call it that. Bird does not like to guard someone. The basket counts, and a good play and a slice move in there by Orlando Woolridge.
Interesting matchup stick by Casey Jones. Bird is guarding Corzine, and McHale takes Woolridge. Normally you would expect Bird to take Woolridge, but Casey feels McHale, the bigger player, will be able to do a better job, take away the speed of Woolridge.
McHale with the personal foul and a 3-point play by Orlando Woolridge. And Chicago leads 13-10. Parrish up against Oakley. Out of bounds. Chicago ball. Of course, Larry Bird, as you pointed out many times in the past, is probably one of the best safety men. A good team defender, not perhaps individual defender. So the last thing Casey wants to do is to have Bird guard one of the firepower men for Chicago.
It's too much of a burden for Bird, and it's a smart adjustment by Casey Jones, in my opinion.
Oakley hits from outside. So 4 of the starting 5 have scored for the Chicago Bulls. So they have spread the sugar around a little bit. Dennis Johnson misses, gets his own rebound, and try to get it over to Larry Bird, and Oakley may be called for his 2nd personal foul. What a year and a strong finish for the 9th pick, Charles Oakley.
He's going to be a bona fide star in this league if he isn't already. He's got some things to learn, like how to get that shot off in the low post, but boy, does he bang on the boards.
Actually drafted by Cleveland and then traded to Chicago in the deal involving Keith Lee, the rookie from Memphis State. Came from Virginia Union. A year later is playing at Boston Garden in the NBA playoffs.
Celtics stick starting off not running as well, just like the other night.
Feed to Abe. Dennis Johnson. There's Walton and Seasting on the Celtic bench. Maybe the key reasons why the Celtics have had such a great year, and good passing by Boston. And it's 15-12. Of course, the Bulls are getting back defensively. Stop that break.
When the Celtics put the pressure on the defense by pushing it up fast, that's when they're at their best, both for layups and low post play.
8 on the shot clock. Oakley hit 1, fakes Parrish, goes in strong, and gets the basket. Charles Oakley at 6'9", leading rebounder for the Bulls this year.
Stan Albeck's shot chart has to be complete by now.
The only man who hasn't scored in the starting group has been Kyle Macy. Ainge goes for 3 and nearly had it. Spun out, rebound by Oakley. Chicago had a 12-point lead in the first half of the game against the Celtics Thursday. Jordan trying to fake Bird, can't do it. Hits the jumper, but Bird played pretty well defensively against Jordan there.
You got to hang on Jordan's shooting hand. Most players try to force him to his left and make him bring the ball to you.
Biggest lead of the game. 7 points for the Bulls. Under 6 minutes to go. Bird. McHale. Parrish. McHale made the big play, though.
When the Celtics bang on the boards and they're perfectly capable of getting those offensive rebounds, that's when they're doubly difficult.
McHale out to guard Woolridge in the lane. Tough shot, tough defense by McHale. Bird the rebound, and the Celtics trailing by 5 with 5:25 remaining in the first period, and Oakley intercepts that pass. Bird and Johnson back defensively. Oakley goes in, and they're going to call offensive foul. Bird, one of the great anticipators on defense, knew what Oakley was going to do there and got position.
The master of the half-inch got him for the charge.
And 3 fouls on Oakley, and he'll come out of the ball game when we return. The Houston Rockets let Sacramento get back in the game last night and ended up winning to take a 2-0 lead in that series. Robert Reed, 29 points. He's been starting in the backcourt. The Lakers, with another blowout over San Antonio, have a 2-0 lead. Magic Johnson with a superb game. Atlanta, 2-0 over Detroit, winning for the 2nd straight time on their home court. Dominique Wilkins, 50 points. But when was the last time you ever saw a 5'5" player. Talking about Spud Webb called for goaltending. And here's what happened in the waning seconds of the game. Spud Webb, the slam dunk champion, called for goaltending. And the Atlanta Hawks have a 2-0 lead, and a pretty good all-around game for Spud Webb as well.
We're going to see some good offensive rebounding by the Celtics. Bird gets free there, but the shot left is no good. But watch McHale come along that baseline and just outposition Corzine. And then they hang tough. Parrish, Oakley turned them loose, and the Celtics are smart enough that if you don't block them out, they'll keep coming on the glass.
Sidney Green has come into the ball game for the Chicago Bulls, replacing Charles Oakley, who's gone out with 3 personal fouls. Green was having a banner year and then went into a slump, has had tendonitis on the knee, and from what was the MVP of the Bulls at midseason, according to Allbeck, has been struggling lately.
I think they need a big game from Sidney Green.
He'll be guarding Robert Parrish. Green plays him well, and Woolridge gets the rebound. Green would not let Parrish go baseline. And now the Chicago Bulls with the ball on a 5-point lead.
Sid Green's got the speed and the mobility to give Parrish problems.
And he can hit outside, too, if you need that. Kyle Macy looking inside. There's Sidney Green. Loose ball, and Danny Ainge, scrappy as he is, comes down with it with 4.5 minutes to play. Larry Bird goes for a 3-pointer. Johnson is there. And Dennis Johnson goes up. McHale knocks it away, and it's Chicago ball. Dennis Johnson can't believe he wasn't fouled on that play.
Gives some good looks, doesn't he?
Larry Bird, by the way, is 0 for 3 shooting and has not scored yet. Michael Jordan has 8 points and is the game-high scorer. Going baseline. Michael Jordan, the basket good and a foul. Fantastic quickness going to the baseline.
They sure got and sent him to his left. Watch him come to his left. Dennis Johnson saying, you can have the baseline. They're hoping that Parrish will be able to get in there and at least intimidate him, but he didn't move quick enough.
Bill Walton is making an early entrance, and Parrish, who committed the personal foul, goes out of the ball game. But here's Bill Walton, a very key acquisition for the Celtics at 33 years of age from the LA Clippers for Cedric Maxwell. Comes into the ball game with 4:15 now remaining in the first period.
This lead by the Bulls is a much more solid lead today than it was in the previous ball game.
Bird can convert on a good feed from Walton. Walton's one of the best big men passers in the game. Good defender and rebound. But meanwhile, Chicago can open it up to a 10-point lead if they can score here. Corzine against Bird, takes it inside. McHale on the rebound as Green fails on the tip-in.
Celtics defense is giving up an awful lot of easy shots to the Bulls.
They're forced to play more one-on-one defense, though, in this game than they were in the open.
They have a good advantage. Corzine being guarded by Bird in the low post.
Still Boston ball. They didn't score, but a good pass here with Walton the key.
Well, you're going to see him cut to the hoop. Little push by Bird, loses his man. Wide open now, but tough shot, tough angle to get the shot off.
Celtics turn it over again, and they're ragged right now in the opening moments. 3:31 to go in the first period. The Washington Bullets have an early lead over the Philadelphia 76ers, who are playing again without Moses Malone. We'll keep you posted on that game. Jordan goes up, ball slapped away, but Jordan winds up with it and draws the foul.
Playing Michael Jordan one-on-one is, for a guy like Dennis Johnson, who's a great defensive player, it's very difficult because Jordan's got the speed advantage, the quick step, and he can go right, left, or over you. And Dennis Johnson that time tried to force him to his left, left just a little bit too much room for him to get to the hoop.
Walton committed the foul, his first, and here's Michael Jordan, rookie of the year last year, and led his team in virtually every category, including rebound. And a 10-point lead for the Chicago Bulls. And the crowd getting a bit antsy here. They're not used to the Celtics trailing.
There's no pace to the game for the Celtics. The Bulls have got them in dance tempo.
Knocked away. Jordan to Woolridge. Ainge is back. Woolridge goes up, and they're going to foul. The only thing Danny Ainge could do. And it'll be a 2-shot foul. The Celtics with the turnovers. Unlikely for that team against Chicago. Foul was on Ainge, and Orlando Woolridge will go to the line and shoot a pair.
Well, that was off a steal. By getting him out on the wing, they have a speed advantage there for a fast break basketball. Bird, he's guarding Bird, and by the time McHale gets up to get him, he could be well up the court if they push the ball up the floor of the Bulls.
Woolridge in his 5th year scored 25 points in the first game, but didn't get underway much early. Right now he has 6 points. 1 out of 2 for Woolridge. It's 25-14. The Bulls by 11. Under 3 minutes to play in the opening period. Johnson is open. Dennis Johnson.
Celtics have to hit some of those outside shots to open up the inside game for McHale and Walton and Bird.
Bird has not scored yet. Woolridge outside hits. 8 points now for Orlando Woolridge. First time this year he shot under 50% in his career. Open again is Dennis Johnson. Jordan picks him up. Knocked away by Jordan, and they're going to call the foul as Dennis Johnson hits the parquet as hard as you could want. And a timeout is called. 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the opening period. The foul is on Sidney Green.
First thing the Celtics want to do is not let Michael Jordan get a direct line of penetration down the lane. They want to try and angle him off the hoop a little bit so that he doesn't have a decent shot to the basket. These two men are going to try and cut down on that penetration, even on the angle up. But you see what happens here. Jordan is so good. A little move, and quickly he gets by Dennis Johnson. There's Bird stepping in. He loses the ball, but the rest of them are able to pick it up off the floor. So you have to go out, stop him, and still worry about the big guys picking the ball off the glass.
One of the best scoring performances against the Celtics occurred in game 1 of this series. Boston won, however, 123-104, and keep in mind that the 104 points they allowed was exactly what their season's defensive average was. So they were not at all disturbed over that. They'll take it again. On the line is Dennis Johnson.
The Celtics have not played the pace game that they normally do. Push it at you, push it at you. It's important to the Celtics big men.
Why?
Because if they can get up the court, the double teams do not develop that quick.
Why haven't they?
They're not pacing the ball up the floor.
They're
walking it up or three-quarter speeding it up. They got to really make a concerted effort to push it hard at the defense.
Shooting so far in this game, Chicago 55%. One time they beat the Celtics, they shot over 50%. It was the only time they did against Boston. Going inside is Sidney Green. That's the kind of shot he has to take, even though that went off, and Walton gets the rebound. 2 minutes to go in the first period.
Sidney Green had a game here earlier in the year where he dominated the low post against the Celtics.
Under 2 minutes, 9 on the shot clock. They go into McHale, guarded by Corzine, and a good move in by Kevin McHale. 16th leading scorer in the league and the 5th best shooter in the NBA. And he hit 10 of 11 against the Bulls in game 1. Woolridge against McHale, gets a piece of it. Walton quickly back to McHale. Jordan picks up McHale and takes the ball away from him. That was a pickpocket move if there ever was one. And Jordan goes up, and the blocking foul against the Celtics. And the crowd won't agree.
Well, McHale has no business putting it on the floor against a quick player like Michael Jordan. A big guy dribbling, it's too high, easy for a smaller man to pick it off. And up he comes. Anytime he gets a chance to bring it up and get it into the painted area, it's going to cause problems for the Celtics.
We talked about Walton. Here's the other key man, Jerry Seasting. With Johnson coming out of the ball game, Seasting has given the Celtics that reliable outside shot. 57% shooter from the field. Jerry Seasting, formerly of the Indiana Pacers. There's Gene Banks into the ball game, a defensive stopper, and he just may be guarding Larry Bird, 6'8". Former San Antonio Spur. In fact, there are 4 former Spurs on the Chicago Bulls.
Gene Banks has really got his hands full, but he's got the intelligence to try and take that half-inch advantage that Bird counts on away from him.
1:18 to go. Bird against Banks. Short. Walton is there for the easy basket. The ball was there for someone to grab, and it was Bill Walton, who has 2 fouls and 2 points so far. Seasting is guarding Macy. I wouldn't be surprised if George Gervin comes in before long. Macy has not scored yet, the only starter for the Bulls. Corzine in and out. Walton the rebound. And now they're going to call the foul, and Banks and Bird look at each other, and it looks like Banks was hit.
20-second timeout.
There's some banging going on there. Corzine shot, but watch Bird now swing Banks. And a little more swinging. Shall we dance?
No dance. We'll have a timeout. Larry Bird, who hit Gene Banks in the head, is called for his first personal foul. The Celtics have been over the limit, and that's what Larry Bird has done. 0 for 5 from the field at this point. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn here at Boston Garden. We'll be hearing from Pat O'Brien later at the half. This is game 2 of our best of 5 first round. The NBA playoffs in the first weekend, and the Chicago Bulls lead the Boston Celtics 29-21 with 57 seconds to go in the first period. Keep in mind the Bulls, playing I guess a different kind of game, also had a lead of 12 points early against the Celtics before they turned it on in game 1.
But the fact that they're all involved, Dick, is going to make them a lot more confident basketball team. This lead is a substantial lead as compared to the previous ball game where it was produced primarily by Jordan's good play.
They're looking at Larry Bird's right hand. And on the line is Gene Banks. Banks, along with Corzine, John Paxson, and George Gervin are all former San Antonio Spurs.
If it's that right index finger on Bird, that's going to really affect him. He had that broken finger, and it's caused him lots of shooting problems.
Mike Smrek, a rookie from Canisius in Buffalo, New York, comes into the ball game. He's a 7-footer. Banks misses 2 free throws, and Corzine goes out of the ball game. He scored 2 points.
And he had lots of good shooting opportunities that didn't pay off.
Scott Wedman comes in for Larry Bird, guarded by Banks. Seasting off the screen. They go low now to McHale over Sidney Green. Kevin McHale has 10 points. He's the leading scorer for the Celtics.
This is the unit that Casey Jones counts on to either produce a lead or create tempo.
This is the Green team. They didn't really have defined roles when the Celtics had their problems around Christmas.
They sure didn't. That was the Christmas massacre, but the troops are back.
Jordan from the corner, and now the Celtics playing for the last shot, trailing by 8 points, 31-23. People look back at the key and turnaround of the Celtics season. It would be that time of year when the bench gels. And that'll be a Chicago foul, and will put them in the penalty, and the Celtics will go shoot 2. Larry Bird being 10-2 now by Ray Melchiori.
I don't know what finger it is, Dick, but you know, he broke that index finger playing softball his senior year in college, and it's troublesome enough for him to shoot. It's amazing to me that he shoots so well from the outside with that finger. It looks like a crooked road with a detour.
Sidney Green with a second foul. As long as that crooked road leads to the NBA Finals, that's all Larry Bird's concerned with. By the way, Bird finally did rid himself of those back and elbow problems this year. He started out shooting well under 45% and then got hot in the latter stages of the year. McHale's free throws, 31-25, 6 seconds to go. Banks has Walton on his back. Macy's shot at the buzzer is good. The basket counts, and the Chicago Bulls, who lost 52 games this year, have taken a 33-25 lead. And Larry Bird has yet to score a point in game 2 of this best of 5 series. Chicago has an 8-point lead as we start the second period, but this was a key play as far as Larry Bird and the Celtics go.
Well, that's the penalty you pay Larry Bird as a team defender. Good pick, and Bird tries to fight his way through, and doing that hurts his hand, and you can see already he's looking at that right hand, and it ended up his last 2 fingers. Now he gets a little angry and goes at Banks, which I don't think was quite fair, because Banks was really played good offense that time. Now you see, well, it's that the last 2 fingers.
Smaller tape. I think Ray Melchiori put smaller tape on those last 2 fingers.
And look at that index finger. He's got a bump on that index finger. Looks like Mount Everest.
Bird was 0 for 5 shooting in the first period and did not score. Keep in mind that Bird was the only player in the NBA this year to finish in the top 10 in 5 of the 8 categories, and heading perhaps for his 3rd consecutive MVP award. Meanwhile, we start the second period and the Bulls lead by 8.
You know, on that injury, Bird really, as a team defender, backed in, and Banks smartly picked them off so Corzine could get the shot off.
Leading scorers, Jordan for Chicago and McHale for Boston. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn here at Boston Garden. Coming around the screen, Rick Carlisle in the game, stays with Jordan, misses, and here's Walton. Gets it into the hands of the right man, Seastick. So Carlisle's in the game. Rick Carlisle, second year out of Virginia. Good perimeter shooter and a very smart player, although not fast. Wedman gets it into Wedman. To Walton, I should say, and a foul called against Mike Spreck. The Celtics do not have much speed in there right now.
Well, this is the fastest unit they have, Dick, to tell you the truth. Wedman at that forward spot has got more foot speed than Bird, who's about to re-enter the ball game. But this is what they count this team to be, a fast break unit. Bird's going to be in there replacing McHale. So that now is a pretty fast unit in there for the Celtics. As quick as they got it.
Fooled me. Bird. Double team. Gets it to Walton. And Walton is fouled. That is a good foul. Michael Jordan commits the foul. One of the things the Bulls wanted to do was to take that foul early when it looked as if the Celtics were going to get an easy two. And there's an example.
Well, when you double team Bird, you better cut off the guys cutting to the basket, and it was much too late developing.
Mike Spreck, the 7-foot rookie, goes out of the game, and Orlando Woolridge, who scored 8 points in the first period, comes back in. So Sidney Green, Orlando Woolridge.
Well, the tempo of the game
up front
may pick up with this unit in for the Bulls now, with Sidney Green being the center and Woolridge at the wing. Maybe they'll turn him loose.
It is a quicker team.
Yes, much. And they'll be playing against the fastest that the Celtics have to offer, and the Bulls still have a tremendous speed advantage. I love fast basketball players and fast style of play. You need easy hoops.
But you got to practice it, and it has to be a way of life for a team.
That's what Stan Albeck said, Dick. That they just weren't together long enough to get it down. They started off fast breaking, but weren't able to continue without Jordan.
Woolridge's shot misses. And Stan Albeck was looking for interference and a goaltend call against Walton. Instead, the Celtics have the ball. We have a minute gone by in the second period, and it's a 6-point Chicago lead at 33-27. Walton guarded by Green. Green gives ground, and Walton will take the shot. Sidney Green the rebound. Out to Gene Banks.
They say, Bill Walton, if you're going to kill us from out there, be my guest.
Wedman is on Banks. Banks goes up. Walton another rebound. Walton has 7 rebounds coming off the bench today. So Carlisle guarded by Jordan. Bird guarded one-on-one with Woolridge. Wedman hits from outside. Scott Wedman, who is a starter when Kevin McHale was out of action with his Achilles injury, had an 11-3 record as a starter with the Celtics.
That was great rotation defense that time by the Bulls with Michael Jordan, and yet Wedman, the quick shooter, still got an easy shot off.
Kyle Macy and Seasting hooked in. George Gervin gets off the bench. He'll come in for the first time in a moment. Green working against Walton goes in. Walton with another rebound, his 8th, and here's a 3-on-1 break for Boston. But traveling call against Rick Carlisle. You don't often see that from the men in white and green. Sidney Green and George Gervin will be coming into the ball game for the Chicago Bulls, who still lead, but now it's 4. Take a look at the Western Conference first round, also best of 5. The Lakers lead 2-0. So does Houston. Dallas and Denver have 1-0 lead in their respective series. Utah plays Dallas tonight, and a couple of key performers. Mark Aguirre with back spasms is questionable for the Dallas Mavericks. Adrian Dantley will not play for the second straight time for the Utah Jazz.
Well, I think Dantley is as important to his ball club as Aguirre is to his, so that might cancel each other out. But if either one of them is able to play, it's going to give his team a tremendous advantage.
Right in the middle there is number 8, George Gervin, who will be 34 years of age a week from today. 14th year, but his first with Chicago. Played, of course, at San Antonio. The 7th all-time leading scorer with over 26,500 points. All-time playoff scoring average is right behind Jerry West. So George Gervin, who's really had to make I guess a traumatic adjustment going from San Antonio to Chicago, coming off the bench here.
playing a lot less minutes, but he's always been great in the low post, and he's going to have a young player against him, Rick Carlisle.
And they're going to isolate right now. The Chicago Bulls spreading out their offense, making the Celtics play individual defense, not the team variety. They get it into Gene Banks. Banks gets the basket.
That is the best of Gene Banks, under control.
We're going to look for more isolation plays, I think, here from the Bulls. Right now, Michael Jordan is on the bench, and we have an illegal defense call against Chicago.
They had 3 guys pass that imaginary line down the middle of the foul lane. It took them a while to call it illegal defense. Bird saw it.
9.5 minutes to go in the first half. Walton, baseline, loose ball, scrap, and the foul against Chicago. Dennis Johnson reports back in the game for the Celtics. And Rick Carlisle sits down.
If the Bulls can get George Gervin going and get those ice fingers going, I mean, he turns to white heat when he's really firing away.
Shot 47%, the lowest of his career this season.
That's because of less minutes.
Walton banks it. Bird gets an easy 2. Larry Bird with his first points of the game, and it comes with 9 minutes and 12 seconds remaining in the first half, and the Chicago Bulls cling to that 4-point lead. They had it up to 11. The only lead Boston had was the first points of the game.
Without Jordan in the game, they've got to find a guy they can give the ball to and count on him to get him a couple of points.
Gervin going in, crashing the boards, and a good play inside. Sidney Green with his first basket.
He is really great at crashing the board if you don't block him out on a penetration move.
Bird over Woolridge. He may be getting hot now. He got a layup. Maybe that's all he needed. And now the outside shot, and it's a 4-point, 37-33 affair. John Paxson getting off the bench for the Chicago Bulls, coming in to replace Macy, perhaps. Banks finally fires it with 7 seconds on the shot, and Gene Banks with his second basket, and it's up to 6 once more.
They certainly were looking to get it to Gervin that time, to the point where Bird fell off and gave Banks the shot.
Bird with 2 straight, misses that shot. Banks has the rebound, forcing the action. The Bulls running a lot more than they had. They didn't run at all, really, in game 1. Macy controlling, guarded by Cecil. Here's Woolridge. And in there is Sidney Green on the weak side. Jordan remains on the bench, shaking his head, and the Chicago Bulls have raised their lead to 8 with Jordan sitting.
I'll tell you, Walton retreated to stop any kind of penetration, forgot about Sidney Green. You can't do that with Sidney Green. He'll kill you on the glass. Once Sidney Green comes swooping in, Walton has got him, forgets where he is, going for the rebound himself, and there's Green, the great leaper, right behind him with more than an elbow of leaping ability above Walton.
John Paxson comes in the backcourt, and Robert Parrish is back for the Celtics. Parrish over the top commits the loose ball foul. Orlando Woolridge, who committed that last personal, was fouled by Parrish. Second foul on Parrish. So right now Chicago has John Paxson, almost a carbon copy of Kyle Macy, perhaps a little stronger and quicker. In the backcourt, Corzine is in with Banks, Woolridge, and Gervin. Jordan still on the bench. Woolridge. Gervin tries to keep it alive. Into the hands of Dennis Johnson. And a Chicago foul, and there's another good foul for Chicago, because that was a 3-on-1 break for Boston.
And John Paxson against some big guys that were going to swoop in. I'm amazed that Sidney Green came out of that ball game right now, because he was giving them that second effort that was producing some solid points.
2 shots for Dennis Johnson. The foul was on Banks.
We've been talking about getting Sidney Green back in, his head back into the game and feeling good about himself. The boy made 2 great moves and back on the bench.
Keep in mind, he has tendonitis of the knee, and that may be a factor in this thing. And so they got some good moments from Green. We'll see when he comes back. That's the other side.
But the leaping ability that time didn't look like he was thinking about his tendonitis.
Didn't look like he was thinking about anything but winning this game.
That's right.
7 minutes to go in the first half. 41-34 in favor of Chicago. Gervin. Woolridge inside. Tried to draw the foul. He couldn't. Bird bodied him well. McHale comes down with the ball into the hands of Dennis Johnson. He tries to draw the foul. Parrish sees Dennis Johnson open. Doesn't go that way. Bird, pick and roll, decides to go strong to the hoop.
Well, they all just let him swoop through there, the Bulls.
And it's a 5-point Chicago lead with 6 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the first half, and a 22nd timeout called by Chicago.
A little fake pick and roll. That creates a little problem, but watch, they allow Bird to just swoop in. They never cut off his penetration. Corzine trying to maintain contact with McHale. Didn't get there quick enough.
.6:20 to go in the first half, and the Chicago Bulls, who have led all the way except for the first points of the ball game. Speaking about a close game at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, the Washington Bullets are tied with the 76ers at 35. They're in the second period, and Washington leads 1-0 in that series. Michael Jordan has been on the bench the last 4 minutes, and the Bulls have been none the worse for wear.
They've produced some other offense. Let's see if they get to work Gervin a little bit.
Gervin against Parrish, and the Boston foul. It'll only be their second team foul. Jordan has played only 2 minutes this period. He scored all his 17 points in the opening 12, and he is getting a lot of rest, but as long as the Bulls are playing the way they're playing, they can give Jordan some of that rest. Parrish commits his third personal foul. Walton played considerably and performed well off the bench so far.
Try to isolate Gervin on one side, but Woolridge didn't get to it quick enough.
Woolridge has his shot blocked. Banks picks it up. Whirling dervish to Corzine. And Dave Corzine hits from the corner. By the way, Woolridge has missed his last 6-7 shots now in the game, so he may not be the guy to go to.
He's taken some god-awful shots, Dick. The penetration, he should be kicking it out to guys like Corzine who can hit that outside shot. Use him as a decoy.
McHale over Corzine. Short. Parrish keeps it alive for Boston. Bird tries to fake Gervin. Seasting, baseline. That's why they acquired him from Indiana. Jerry Seasting, and it's 43-38 Chicago, and Michael Jordan will be coming back in the game in a moment, and Bill Walton for Boston. Paxson controlling with 13 on the shot clock. Banks. Rebound Parrish.
Bird was nowhere to be seen on Banks.
Bird. Off the wing, the basket good, and a foul. And Walton comes back for the Celtics, and Michael Jordan checks in for the Chicago Bulls.
Push the ball up the court. Good things happen. Nice outlet pass. It gets up reasonably, and Seasting loves to fast break. Back to Dennis in the middle, and before the defense is even alert, the Celtic use the fourth man up the court. No defender there.
Jordan comes in replacing George Gervin, who I don't believe even attempted a shot in the time he was in there. Foul was on Corzine. The three-point play with 5 minutes to go cuts the Bulls' lead to 2.
Well, that's a terrible thing. A guy like George Gervin, with all the playoff experience and a great offensive ability, not to get a shot off while he's in there. He's a weapon.
Bird guarding Banks. Rainbow shot. Misses. Paxson, safety man, intercepts. Into Banks. Good spin move, but Walton blocks it. And Walton's, or they said Banks stepped on the line. It's going to be Boston ball. So Bill Walton playing a major role off the bench. And Sidney Green, who played 11 minutes, coming back in the ball game for Chicago. And the crowd is up because the Celtics can tie it here. And they do. No. Foul before the shot.
Gene Banks is really having his problems offensively and defensively. I think he's talking to himself and making this game much more difficult than it has to be. Taking some bad shots. Last time he had Walton in the low post. Whenever he thinks that's a mismatch in his favor, he got to go back to the scoring, back to the playbook, because there's no way he should be taking Bill Walton to the hoop in the low post.
Banks goes out. He scored 4 points, and Larry Bird can tie the game. We have had 5 ties early on before Chicago moved out in front and led by as many as 11. It's the first tie since we were knotted up at 10 apiece. 4:20 remaining in the first half. Chicago led 33-25 after 1 period. Bird is on green. Ball knocked away. It's still Chicago.
Bird forced to guard Sidney Green. That might be a good matchup for the Bulls to go to. Let Green get in the low post.
McHale is guarding Woolridge, who's been ice cold. Jordan against Dennis Johnson. Jordan. Chicago 25-43. 19 for Michael Jordan. That's his first points in this second period.
That's what the Celtics do so well. They pick on people. The Bulls are not picking on people here in the first half.
They don't have that many weapons, although if they go with a quick team, that may be their answer. Seasling misses. Woolridge the rebound. Chicago does have a quickness edge on the Celtics generally down the roster.
Have not used it that effectively, other than to, quick steps like this from Michael Jordan.
Jordan going in, baseline, defended by Walton. Out of bounds, Celtics ball, and Jordan shows a little frustration. Dennis Johnson over Jordan. Sidney Green the rebound. 3:15 to go. Jordan inside to Woolridge. Basket good and a foul. And that looked like a Celtic playbook.
When he gets in the paint, remember, try and angle him off. He gets everybody looking because their concern is him, and he has become alert himself as a decoy for somebody to slip behind the defenders who have lost their attention, and Woolridge smart that time to get open.
Interestingly enough, Walton with the foul, his third, so the 2 Celtic centers, Parrish and Walton, each are burdened with 3 personal fouls right now, and Parrish on the bench. 48-43 in favor of Chicago, winding down to 3 minutes to go in the half. Danny Ainge will return, and Jerry Seasling goes out for the Celtics, and we'll have a timeout ourselves with just 1 second, less than 3 minutes to go in the half. Celtics inbounding, and Larry Bird. What's the story with Bird today? How are the Bulls playing?
Bird said that his prime function, he thought, was to really develop the inside game for the others and not to look for a shot. But the Bulls are also getting out there and challenging him on his outside shot.
McHale draws the foul. And looks like he hit his head. McHale scored all his 12 points in the first period. He has none this quarter. Larry Bird has all of his 11 this period.
Let's see what happens here. He gets sandwiched, and somebody comes over, and actually what happened, it looked like he got a little whiplash or an elbow in the forehead.
Dave Corzine commits his 3rd foul. Oakley and Corzine each with 3. So McHale trying to get the cobwebs out. Want to remind you that you're watching the second game of a best-of-5 first-round NBA playoff at Boston Garden. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn here on CBS. The Boston Celtics with the best record in the league and a 41-1 record at the Garden this year, trailing right now 48-43 and 2:56 to go in the first half. Foul Story. Parrish and Walton, the 2 Celtic centers, have 3, and Oakley Corzine also 3.
And his eye is cut there too, Dick. That was a nice little elbow he got there.
Chicago had scored 5 in a row to break a 43-all tie before the free throw. 13 on the shot clock. Jordan inside to Woolridge, spins around, basket counts, and a foul. Great move by Orlando Woolridge, and keep in mind he's had a knee problem and a sprained wrist, but he showed no effects of it there.
They played a little 2-on-2 basketball, and that freed up Woolridge. He was Dennis Johnson ended up on him originally. McHale has been trying to guard him, but when you do stuff like that, the Celtics switch a lot. You got to look for the advantage on the mismatch. They finally got to it.
Foul was on McHale, his second. It's 50-44, 2.5 minutes to play in the opening half. Chicago leading, and they've led practically all the way in this first half. Bird banks it, tips out, tipped in the air. Volleyball comes down to Ainge. Walton. McHale in the corner. Ainge scraps his way. And a new clock. Bird inside to McHale, and the basket. Celtic passing at its very best, and it's a 4-point Chicago lead. 2 minutes to go in the half.
You know, the guards' patience of the Celtics to find that good matchup is what really makes this team click.
Jordan controlling against Dennis Johnson, and they isolate him. Misses it all. Save though. Green. Jordan. And the rebound by Walton. The Bulls did everything but score on that sequence. Bird tries that extra pass. Whistle. No basket, and a 3-second violation called against Boston. And even Stan Albeck's enjoying this first half.
Danny Ainge makes one great steal here, goes up high. I mean, that's a great athletic skill there to take it away from a bigger man.
4-point lead for Chicago. Sidney Green is up on high, setting a screen. Johnson trying to fight through it on a switch. Bird guards Jordan, and Jordan hits the jumper anyway. Michael Jordan, 21 points, and it's 52-46 Bulls. Looking inside to McHale, nothing doing. Corzine denying. Dennis Johnson misses a 3. Walton though. Jordan with under a minute to go, and the ball bouncing into the hands of the Bulls. Corzine inside to Paxson. Paxson gets the basket, and now the Chicago Bulls have opened it up 54-46, and they have been the strong team down the stretch in this quarter.
They played good push-up basketball that time. Some of the Celtics' big people didn't get back.
McHale, off balance, draws the foul. Stan Albeck made comments after game 1 that he got less of a break from the officials, and that the Celtics were able to use mayhem, to say the least, inside. Of course, Casey Jones said, well, if they're playing a physical game, what do you expect? They should commit most of the fouls. In any event, Corzine has number 4.
Well, I used to be a coach. I used to use rhetoric like that, too. It's like a coach's book for coming into the Boston Garden on how to get the officials on your side. Not just the Boston Garden, but anytime you're on the road.
Doesn't seem to help much here, looking at the record of the Celtics this year. You can see the blood on the jersey of Kevin McHale from that cut left eye. Hits the free throws. Banks is in the ball game with 38 seconds to go. Chicago leading by 6. And they'll call the foul on Ainge. Second foul, but that will put the Celtics into the penalty, and so John Paxson will shoot 2.
That was kind of a chicken foul. It looked more like Paxson fell down and Ainge fouled him.
Paxson, of course, comes from a great bloodline of basketball people. Of course, he must have played against his dad.
I certainly did. A great player.
With the Lakers and the Royals, and his brother, of course, Jim, is with the Portland Trailblazers.
They want this man here to shoot more. They want him to get that outside shot going. They feel he can push it up the floor better than even Kyle Mason.
34 seconds to go. 8-point lead for Chicago. Their biggest lead was 11. Ainge taking it all the way in. Bird tipping. Walton tips it in. And Bill Walton with 6 points in the ball game and 13 rebounds has been the key center, not Parrish so far for the Celtics.
Celtics used some great stuff on the offensive boards on those fast breaks. That penetration by Danny Ainge that time, even though he missed it, he produced the 2 points for the team.
6 on the shot clock, so there's a 3-second differential. Jordan with a fake shot and draws the foul. Dennis Johnson beside himself with frustration after that, did not agree with it. That's his first personal foul.
When Michael Jordan beats you going to the right, you have to lean across him and bring your hand down, and that's when the official will normally call the foul.
Mike Tebow, who is one of the assistant coaches with Chicago, said about Jordan, he's got the jump shot ability of a Jerry West and the ability to go to the hoop of a Julius Erving. Pretty good people to be compared with.
I call him Mercury. You ever hold Mercury in your hand? He's all over the place.
Foul with 3 seconds to go, and now it's Michael Jordan who is complaining. There is Mike Tebow kneeling down. Actually, Tebow is not on the bench. He must be upstairs sending in plays from from the top. The
From
foul.
the helicopter, huh?
Sidney Green gets called with his third personal foul. Corzine has 4. Oakley and Green 3 for Chicago. Parrish and Walton each with 3 for Boston.
And the Bulls have played as well as they can play. And the Celtics really haven't gotten their game together whatsoever, and the Celtics are still in it.
Celtics are rarely out of it this early. I guess, though, in the one loss they experienced to Portland here, they were out of it early. That was a rout.
Right.
1 out of 2, 2 seconds to go, and then that shot will not count if it goes. Larry Bird had 12 all this period, but Michael Jordan has 23 points, and the Chicago Bulls, who need a win here, and that would make headlines in any event, any team beating the Celtics at Boston Garden, lead 58-51 at halftime. Celtics lead 1-0 in games, but the Bulls lead here 58-51 at Boston Garden, where the Celtics lost only 1 time this year. Tommy, is that 58-51 Chicago lead deceiving in any way?
It could very well be, Dick. The Celtics shot very poorly, and the Bulls defense against the low post game, the various double teamings that they did, confused the Celtics, and I think they might get that straightened away at halftime. They're used to it. I think they might have taken the Bulls a little lightly in this first half. I think the Bulls should be up by at least 20.
Let's take a look at some of the key statistics of the first half. Michael Jordan owned the backcourt, 23. The Celtics combined had only 8. Rare for the Chicago Bulls to turn it over only 1 time in a half. But that's what they did. But when it came to the offensive rebounding, Boston owned that aspect of the game, and they out-rebounded the Bulls 33-18. And when was the last time you saw the Celtics shoot 38% in a half? And that's what they did. Yet they trailed by only 7, underway third period. Kyle Macy in the backcourt along with Michael Jordan, who has the ball now. Gene Banks starts at forward with Oakley and Woolridge.
This is a very unusual lineup that the Bulls have out there. Who is playing center? Oakley, Woolridge. They got a small front line in there, the Bulls, but very fast. Maybe they're going to run.
Celtics' only lead in the game was 2-0 to start things. Inside to McHale. McHale starts things in the second half, and he has 19 points, and it's a 5-point lead. Oakley hardly played in that first half. As a matter of fact, just 7 minutes and scored 4 points. Sidney Green, the key man again, perhaps off the bench, as Woolridge misses. He's taken some wild shots, hasn't he?
I think he got fouled that time.
Looking inside, McHale against Oakley company. Misses that shot. Parrish underneath the hoop. Had to bring it out. Lost it out of bounds. Celtics with a tremendous domination off the glass. Woolridge with 13 points. He has the ball along with Jordan's 23. Woolridge missed inside.
Woolridge on that one-on-one game, I think they ought to park that for a while and find somebody else.
Banks working against Bird on the post-up. McHale tried a double team, and Woolridge misses again. Here's Michael Jordan. Basket will be good and a foul, and 25 for Michael Jordan in the game.
You know, this lineup that they have in here, I got to ask him after the game why it's in there, because there's no real size and
no real strength.
There's Oakley's pretty strong, but
yeah.
There's no inside game or board banging going on.
You mean Sidney Green?
Sidney Green, I think. He's got 3 fouls. Maybe they're trying to save him, but McHale can have a field day against this unit.
Minute and a half gone by in the third period, 61-53, an 8-point lead. Bird inside the 3-point line, hits for 2. Larry Bird has 14 points. They've been not allowing him to get that shot off, haven't they?
They've been in his jersey with him. They've taken his defender out of the normal team defense.
Ainge is on Macy, who has attempted only 1 shot in the ball game. Woolridge working against McHale goes in, and a good move by Orlando Woolridge, 15 in the game.
I guess they're going to give it to him until he gets it right.
6 for 18 is the shooting for Woolridge. 33%. Ainge for 3. And the rebound by the O.
Stan Albeck does not have a lot of respect for Kevin McHale's defense.
Jordan goes up, no basket and a foul. Dennis Johnson with his third personal foul and a timeout here with 9:38 to go in the third. So Michael Jordan with 49 in game one, 26 right now, and Tommy asked some of the Celtic guards their observations on how to play Michael Jordan.
Foul him and hope someone else can come in and do the job.
You know, if the team can't stop him, maybe he'll shoot himself to death.
I don't know. I guess you give a call to Clint Eastwood because there's not much you can do at that point.
Just let him go.
They all tried on Thursday, including this man, Dennis Johnson. But when the second half came to play, Dennis Johnson with a tremendous effort. He had 7 baskets in a row in the third period in 26, and he did a better job against Jordan. By the way, Celtic guards are shooting 3 for 13. Chicago with it with Jordan with 9.5. Long range, Jordan hits. And a 10-point lead for the Chicago Bulls. Keep in mind their biggest lead in the first half was 11, and they're close to that now. Crowd getting a bit anxious again, Tom.
Boy, and Gene Banks is doing a well of a job of trying to stay with Larry Bird.
Not an easy task. Oakley comes out to meet him, and Bird hits. Larry Bird now hitting 2 outside shots in the first 3 minutes of this third period.
Casey Jones counts on Larry Bird to bring him out of the doldrums.
He's done it. Remember the Philadelphia game here when he did it to the tune of 3 three-point plays in the final moments of the first half. Jordan working against Dennis Johnson. McHale getting ready to help out. He does, but Banks is there with a feed, and Parrish commits the foul, and that'll be his 4th personal foul. 4 on 0-0.
Well, Larry Bird forgot Gene Banks and let him sneak in there. Bird, the ultimate team defender for the Celtics, had his total concentration on Jordan that time.
The advantage of the great depth the Celtics have. Bill Walton, Parrish goes out. He has scored 6 points and is burdened with 4 fouls, but Bill Walton has 6 points and 13 rebounds in the game, and he has been the big center force for the Celtics today. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn here at Boston Garden. Capacity crowd, 262nd consecutive. First weekend of the NBA playoffs here on CBS, and the Celtics trailing the Chicago Bulls by 10, 67-57. A big shocker if the Bulls can hold the lead. Boston lost only once here all year. Leading though 1-0 in the best of 5. Walton puts up the short shot.
And there was a little confusion factor that Stan Albeck hoped to introduce into his defense in the low post. Sometimes double team, sometimes not. Send the double from different directions. It's working.
Jordan again handling the ball with 11 on the shot clock. Dueling with Dennis Johnson. Walton loses the rebound to Woolridge and fouls him. That was a tough go inside of 2 determined men going for 1 ball, and Bill Walton commits his 4th foul. So both Celtic centers, Walton and Parrish, have 4 fouls.
As Walton spreading out, but the quicker player, Woolridge, is able to step inside. Normally Walton plays against the bigger, slower guys that don't have the ability to use their quick feet to step inside. You saw what Sidney Green was able to do to him in the first half.
But the foul story now becomes focused on the 2 Celtic centers who have 4 fouls. If one or both get into foul trouble, that could be a major factor down the stretch.
Should be, but they're smart enough to use those fouls. I'm not too concerned if I were Casey Jones at this point. 4 fouls.
Don't forget you have that man, Greg Kite, in his 3rd year, who's quite a banger, who has seen some quality minutes this year. Nearly 4 minutes going by, 3rd period, and a whistle and a foul away from the ball. Called against Chicago, and a derisive cheer from the crowd, who would think that the Bulls have had the edge in calls so far. Charles Oakley, that's his 4th personal foul. 4 on Oakley, the rookie from Virginia Union. Double team on McHale. Open is Johnson, penetrates and scores.
Now that time they doubled, and they forgot to get to Dennis Johnson quick enough. The rotation of the defense of the Bulls wasn't there.
8-point lead for Chicago. They led by 7 at the half. 7:39 remaining in the third. Double on Jordan. Inside, and Banks lost the ball. Got hit in the eye, but lost the ball. Celtics pushing it up, and Ainge goes in. And the foul will be against Chicago. Ainge may be the spark that the Celtics haven't had to get their fast break going so far.
Well, he's their real push man because he has the desire to really attack the defense. Dennis Johnson, when he gets the ball on the outlet, really kind of three-quarters it up the court. Danny Ainge has got more speed to apply to the fast break than DJ does.
Ainge with his first point of the ball game, averaging nearly 11 a game, coming in and a 90% free throw shooter. Misses one of them though. Foul, by the way, was on Macy, his first. Macy with the ball, guarded by Ainge. Dennis Johnson is sticking with Jordan effectively. Jordan can't seem to get away, and losing the ball momentarily. And losing it for good is Oakland. Celtics with Bird. To Walton. And a 20-second timeout called by Chicago. Listen to the crowd as the Celtics have come back, still trailing by 5. This is the exciting time of the year in the NBA, and the playoffs continue next weekend. We'll be on the air Saturday, 3:30 Eastern time, and then a doubleheader on Sunday, beginning at 1 o'clock Eastern. Of course, we don't know what matchups you'll see. It could be at the tail end, game 5s of the first-round matchups, or the beginning of the conference semifinals. But whatever it is, you'll see some exciting action next weekend on CBS. Philadelphia leading a tight battle over Washington, 64-61 in the Spectrum. The Bullets lead 1-0 in the best-of-5 of that series.
Philadelphia needs Moses Malone. They've lost their power guy inside.
Crowd has turned up a notch here. See how Chicago responds. Woolridge. Banks. And Banks quiets them for the moment at least.
Oh, what a smart play by Gene Banks. Got right in there as they went to the penetration, got the good position on the offensive board.
Celtics spreading out their offense, making Chicago play more one-on-one defense, not the team variety. Ainge with a move on Macy. And the foul on the pass. A one-shot foul. Let's watch Banks here on the glass you talked about.
There's Larry Bird going to the penetration, and look at Banks coming right in there, steps inside with nobody really blocking him out.
Timeout called by Boston with 6:27 remaining in the third. Celtics have won 32 in a row at home, but the point is, in the best all-time home record in the history of the league, at 40-1, every home team has won so far in the playoffs, with the exception of the first game when the Bullets shocked Philadelphia with that 18-0 spurt at the end.
Well, the further you go into the playoffs, Dick, the home court advantage isn't as great because the teams are closer together in talent, and they're closer together in mental toughness and battling against the home crowd.
Know one thing, and that is the Houston Rockets with a 2-0 lead over Sacramento have to play that Tuesday night game in the Arco Dome where the Kings were unbeaten this year. We'll see if that jinx continues.
Very impressed with the Bulls in this quarter. They've used a lot of good, solid offense.
Bird from Walton. Even with that strange lineup, huh?
With that strange, I got to ask him after the game why he came out. I never would have thought of this lineup.
Folks, if you want to know what Tommy's doing after the game, he'll be asking Stan Albeck about his lineup.
They don't have a true center in there.
Woolridge working against McHale. The basket is good and a foul. Orlando Woolridge gets the hoop. And Woolridge now with 19 points.
You know what I think it is, Dick? I think that Stan Albeck really feels that there's not enough good one-on-one defenders on the Celtics. Here's the move by Woolridge against McHale. He feels McHale can't guard Woolridge. That's why he's attacking him. I would have never believed it myself. I think McHale's a very good defensive player.
Another point here, the Celtics shot 38% in the first half. They're 7 for 9 so far in the third period, and yet the Bulls have added a point to their lead. And a whistle before the shot, illegal defense against Chicago, and that's a technical foul. The second time an illegal defensive call is made, it's a technical. So Danny Ainge has been shooting. Interestingly enough, Larry Bird was the free throw shooting champion this year, but Ainge has been shooting the tees lately.
We have not seen any tempo in this game in the third quarter whatsoever. This has been a chess match with Boris taking 2 minutes to think about his next move. That's how long the game is developing, as far as I'm concerned. No pace whatsoever.
Dennis Johnson with the ball.
Boris
now.
with the ball.
Yeah, 5:40 to go. Bird going in on Banks. And Larry Bird with a left-handed move with 20 points now in the ball game. Keep in mind, he did not score until there were over 9 minutes remaining in the first half.
Well, they didn't double him that time, and Banks forced him to the middle, made him take a tough shot.
He's 4 for 4 this half. Macy hits it, and the foul on Ainge. And I'm sure Casey Jones is saying, here's a guy that's taken 1 shot in the game. Why foul him all the way out there?
Well, that's a shot. And I think when you take a long distance shot like that, Kyle Macy, if he hits it, and all of a sudden it changes your thinking on the way you're going to drop into the paint to help. You got to go out there and try and shut him down a little bit.
Ainge with 3. Well, they got burned to a 3-point fairly well, and it's 77-69. Once again, Chicago by 8 with 5 minutes, 10 seconds to go.
They've isoed Bird.
Foul against Chicago. You're right. If Chicago can do it with Woolridge and or Jordan, the Celtics can do it with Larry Bird.
And nobody got to the rotation to stop that cutter quite quick enough. Almost got a hoop out of it.
2 fouls now on Orlando Woolridge, and Johnson is shooting 2 shots.
Well, Bird is responding to the defense that the Bulls are playing against him. One time he doesn't get doubled, he makes the swooping move into the lane. This time he gets doubled, he sets up 2 easy free throws.
Is that taking what the defense gives you?
Well, he's a guy that, as I said in the beginning, takes advantage of every half inch. Imagine if you give him a yard.
6-point game, Chicago leading. Biggest lead was 11 in the first half. They had a 10-point lead here in this period. Jordan, first half, they had a 10-point lead here in this period. Jordan with a juke and a move, and Dennis Johnson got a piece of it.
Boy, that was some defensive play by Dennis Johnson.
Celtics can cut it to 4. Knocked away, Chicago ball.
That was a terrible call. Terrible call. The man was on his arm. Should have been a foul.
Jordan up on top. A 1-4 offensive alignment for the Bulls. Macy working Ainge. Banks. Woolridge. He swung it nicely, but Woolridge missed it all. And the Celtics once again with a chance to cut it to 4. Bird. He lost his footing, but yet made the layup. And a timeout by Stan Albeck. It's a 4-point Chicago lead. The Celtics have outscored Chicago 14-8 to cut a 10-point lead to 4.
And Danny Ainge, you know, you have to force your way to an act of willpower to create tempo sometimes when you get caught in a rhythm. And there's Danny Ainge. He was challenged, and he'll have none of it. He's going to take it as hard at the defense as he can. And now they're in a good attack position. And then allow Bird, even with that stumbling move, to come in and make a layup. That's what pace can do for the Celtics.
Bird 5 for 5 this half, 22 in the ball game. Jordan and Woolridge have 48 of Chicago's 77 points. Jordan. And the Bulls still have it. 3-point shot missed by Macy.
That one was not necessary.
Under 4 minutes remaining in the third period. Keep in mind that the Bulls had a 7-point lead, and the way they were playing, Tommy's opinion anyway, should have had a bigger lead. The Celtics getting an extra life. Dennis Johnson is fouled decisively there on the give and go, on the pass from Bird.
Well, that time,
there's no tougher guard in the league than Dennis Johnson.
Double-teamed Bird, and they isolated Bird down there. Everybody on the weak side of the Celtics is away from the ball, but they did move quickly, but not quick enough.
Wedman replaces McHale, who has 19, but only 2 in this third period.
Well, they are not going to the low post game. Casey Jones says Larry Bird shall lead us out of the darkness, not Kevin McHale, and so far he's been doing a pretty good job.
Bill Walton has been the Celtics center, played more time than Robert Parrish, although both have 4 personal fouls, with 3:42 remaining in this third period.
The Bulls now have to continue to play intelligent basketball like they did the first couple of minutes of this game. They slowed the tempo down. Don't take bad shots. Move it around.
And the Bullets have regained the lead over Philadelphia, 79-75. The Celtics, meanwhile, have scored 6 in a row. And Dennis Johnson hacks Michael Jordan, and that'll be number 4 on DJ. 4 fouls on Dennis Johnson. Welcome to the club. Parrish and Walton, charter members right now.
And Dennis is playing him straight up nose, and that means that Jordan, with that great first step, can get by Dennis because Dennis doesn't have the same kind of foot movement and foot speed.
Jordan is 8 for 8 from the line. Going for his 30th point of the game here.
This is the time of the ball game that you go to Michael Jordan, I think. He's strong. They didn't overuse him in the first half. These are the crunch points.
And we have not seen Sidney Green this half.
Nope.
Got to be a reason why. 3:25 remaining in the third period.
I'm going to ask Stan after the game again.
It's 2 questions. Oakley is on Walton. Bird is there with the offensive rebound. Leading Wedman, short shot. And Oakley the rebound. Wedman had a shot he normally makes. Oakley clears with 3:10 to go. Jordan against Ainge. 79-75 Boston. Open is Macy. And Macy hits. 7 points for Kyle Macy. And the Bulls, who had their lead cut to 2, now up to 6 again.
When he has time to sight the basket, which the penetration of Jordan gives him, he'll make that shot, Kyle Macy.
Under 3 minutes remaining in the third period. Always been a big period for the Boston Celtics. Knocked away. Celtics possession. Let's bring you up to date again on the foul situation. Corzine and Oakley with 4, Parrish, Walton, and Dennis Johnson with 4. And before the Celtics can inbound, Jerry Seasting will come back in the ball game, replacing Dennis Johnson.
That's going to put Danny Ainge on Jordan.
And a drive by Ainge.
And Jordan on Danny Ainge.
And Ainge chalks one up there, and they're down to 4 points now. The first field goal of the game for Ainge.
Ainge might even do a better job than DJ because he's used to playing point guards, shifty guys.
He did the other night with his quickness. Jordan, this is tipped up again. Oakley fighting. Comes down to the Celtics, who can cut it to 2. Ainge is fouled. Danny Ainge will go to the line, 90% from the free throw line, to try to bring the Celtics to within 2 points. John Paxson comes into the ball game, and Kyle Macy goes out. Macy with 4 fouls.
Danny Ainge, you know, is a very big guy to play point guards. He's got exceptional quickness for his size, and has learned to contain a real good fast man between his knees. He plays straight on defense, and that's just the type of guy that might do a great job on Michael Jordan.
2 minutes to go in the third period. Ainge with the interception. And it almost went in. So Danny Ainge is clearly the spark plug for the Boston Celtics here in the third period, leading the break, making this great defensive play and getting the crowd into the game.
What a move. Danny, you know, when you play a Michael Jordan and he knows he's got get that first step on you, boy, that gives him a world of confidence. Danny Ainge right now is saying to him, you can't do it.
And we're tied at 81. 6 in a row run off by the Celtics. And they have erased a 10-point lead here in the third period that the Bulls enjoyed early on. Inside to Jordan. And it's Oakley who gets credit for the basket. Charles Oakley. And a technical foul has been leveled by Jake O'Donnell.
I think that was an unnecessary technical foul by Jake O'Donnell. It was called from one end of the court. Danny Ainge made a gesture, And Jake O'Donnell was completely up the other end of the court. He made it. He's looking good for it.
Jordan, 31 points. And the Celtics trail by 3 with 1:35 to go. Ainge trying to fake Jordan. Good step on Michael Jordan. And the basket. Great first step by Danny Ainge, who keeps the pressure on for the Celtics. And it's 84-83 Chicago.
Taking the tempo away from the Celtics, trying to. Michael Jordan right now.
10 points in this period for Ainge. And what a great shot. And a basket and a foul. You talk about Bird, sheer determination at certain points of a game. Michael Jordan has those same qualities.
He's got to watch him get around Jordan, Danny Ainge. And strong left-hand drive. And Walton right there. And here comes Jordan, but Ainge is in front of him, angles him off, turns him loose to the second defender of the Celtics, but Jordan overpowers him.
And Walton has committed his 5th personal foul. Bill Walton has 5. Parrish is on the bench with 4. Under a minute to go, and the Bulls lead by 4. Seasting to Wetman. Bird. And Oakley powers his way for the rebound. And Larry Bird gets called for the foul. That's his 2nd personal foul, and Oakley will shoot.
Here comes the rebound. Oakley well inside, and Bird says, well, I'm going to try and knock it out of your hands from underneath. And he must have hit the ball into his jaw, and Bird said, I hit the ball. What a face, huh?
Face of a winner, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It is.
Here's Charles Oakley, who's a 66% free throw shooter. Kevin McHale, who has 19 points, only 2 this period. Bulls have made their last 14 free throws. Now make it 15. Walton on the bench with 5. Robert Parrish also on the bench. He has 4 fouls. Celtics playing without a center. McHale is playing center at this point. Inside against Oakley. And the foul against Chicago. A push.
A very late whistle. The shot was rebounded.
Sidney Green has come into the ball game. First time he has played in the second half, replacing Charles Oakley. Woolridge has his 4th personal foul, and Parrish with 4 comes back in, replacing Scott Webber. So Sidney Green, who performed so well in the first half for Chicago, with 4 points and 5 rebounds in brief play, in there for the first time this half.
They've got a bigger team in there right now, the Boston Celtics. See if they can capitalize on that bigness, that size.
You ought to be fresh.
Right, because Chicago is not capitalizing on their quickness and speed with fast breaks.
Bird is 24. Woolridge powers his way in, blocked by McHale, out of bounds. Chicago still has it. Kevin McHale with the blocked shot. He's had at least 1 block in the last 30 games for the Celtics.
Well, Woolridge rolls back, and there's McHale right there with him.
4th block this game. Jordan against Ainge. Jumper good with 16 seconds to go, 91-85.
Well, Ainge forced him left, forced him right into the second defender, but Jordan with that great leaping ability can go over the big guys too.
Playing for the last shot, Ainge goes for 3 and hits it. 7 seconds, Chicago has an opportunity, leading by 2. Paxson. Blocked by McHale, and that'll do it. That'll do it at the end of the 3rd period. The Bulls have taken the blows against this great Celtic team and lead 91-88 at the end of the 3rd period. And we'll return after this word from your local station. Let's have a review of this ball game. Chicago, sparked by Michael Jordan's 17 first period points, took an 8-point bulge over the Celtics. Second time in the series they've had that lead. Larry Bird had 12 as Chicago's lead was cut to 7. Danny Ainge was the spark plug in the third period. Bill Walton has done a great job off the glass the entire game as the Celtics have inched closer to 91-88. But to the Chicago Bulls' credit, no matter what happens, as you look at the shooting story the rest of the way, and the Celtics certainly got hot so far in that third period, that the Bulls have showed poise in withstanding several thrusts by the Celtics at this time.
Well, Stan Albeck must feel that and believe that philosophy that the Celtics cannot play good one-on-one defense, and he's spreading it out so that the Celtics are forced to play that type of defense.
Larry Bird gets the first points to start things off. He has 26 in the ball game. Jordan with 36 is the high scorer in the game. Jordan has scored 85 points in the 2 playoff games. Paxson guarded by Seasting. Into Green. Green is fouled. There's that spring that Sidney Green has inside.
See a heck of a pick by Robert Parrish to free Bird. Gene Banks has to roll off, but Bird still has time to get the shot away. And Bird, as we say, only needs a half inch.
Foul was on McHale, his third. Sidney Green has been in a shooting slump the last month, trying to work his way out of it at a very tough time to do it. Playoffs against Boston.
But this is a low post option that I think has been very fruitful for them in prior ball games. He can go over, Sidney Green can go over Kevin McHale.
Celtics looking to tie it again. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn, fourth period. Game 2, best of 5. Celtics won the opening game, and they're in a dogfight here against Chicago, trailing 92-90. Diving for the loose ball is Gene Banks, but the Celtics still keep possession. Chicago trying to do what only one other team has done all year, beat the Celtics here at Boston Garden.
You know, you have to keep your mind together, Gene Banks, and playing a Larry Bird, particularly in the Boston Garden. You know, if they throw 9,000 picks for Larry Bird to get one shot, and Banks has the utmost respect for Bird. He says he's the craftiest guy he's ever played against. He learns something new for his own game every time he plays him.
Bird, 1 second on the clock, hits a three-pointer. And the Celtics have their first lead since the opening basket of the ball game. Dennis Johnson steals it from Jordan. Inside to Parrish. And traveling call against Robert Parrish. Here is the three-pointer with the clock running down.
It comes by accident here. Bird has to pop out as they could have called a foul. Instead, Bird, as the clock is winding down, has to let it fly, and he hits it.
So now we'll see how Chicago responds to that knockdown punch by Larry Bird. Bulls with it, trailing by 1. Minute and a half gone by in the fourth period. And a foul. Michael Jordan is fouled by Dennis Johnson, and that'll be number 5 on Dennis. So Johnson with 5. Bill Walton on the bench with 5 fouls, and now he gets off the bench. And Robert Parrish playing with 4, and Parrish will sit down. Parrish today has 6 points and 6 rebounds. There's Orlando Woolridge, who has 20 points in support of Michael Jordan's 36. Now 37 for Jordan. Michael Jordan.
You cannot stop him because he handles the ball so much, and so much a percentage of the offense is designed for him to just get the ball and score.
14 for 14 from the line. Chicago regains the lead. McHale going in and is fouled. Bring up to date on the story involving Michael Jordan. He missed 64 games of the season, and the Chicago management did not want him to play anymore. He had a broken left foot. He wanted to play. They said, okay, you can play. They wanted to limit his minutes, and they did. However, he had to sit down with 30 seconds to go and the game on the line against Indiana. He wanted to play. The crowd howled, and Michael Jordan put his foot down and said to the Chicago Bulls management, I'm going to play basketball. That's what I am, a basketball player. And they had to back down, and Jordan has played. And one of the great tributes to integrity and credibility in this sport is on the shoulders of Michael Jordan, I believe.
I think it is a great story for him to stand there. He loves to play the game, and he wants to be on a winning team.
Nearly 2 minutes gone by in this final period. Boston by 1. Chicago has led virtually all the way. Jordan banks it in, and Jordan with 40 points. He had 49 in game 1.
Seesling went out. Ainge came back in, and Ainge has ended up with the defensive assignment now on
give and go. Bird to Dennis Johnson. Corzine the rebound.
Ainge is going to guard Jordan now.
Sidney Green. Bird. Dennis Johnson. McHale crashing the boards. Who wants it? McHale! He was almost on his back, Tommy.
He's figuring he's going to get a foul on the play, too, but no whistle.
Celtics by 1. 3 minutes gone by, 4th period. And a foul away from the ball. Here it is.
They're really banging on the boards. McHale trying to keep it live. Bird knocks it away. There's McHale, gets submarined and shoots the ball, and it should have been a foul.
Astonishing shot by Kevin McHale. Tommy, let's see that shot by Kevin McHale again. That'll be in all the highlights tonight at 11.
Well, it's like a quarterback throwing a touchdown pass as he's going down. I've seen Larry Bird do some amazing things. We're going to see another angle. It probably look better from this angle, of course. Look at that. I mean, didn't know what else to do with the ball than get it up there, hoping that the whistle would blow. He gets the basket, but no foul.
We expect more of the same as the playoffs move on next Saturday, 3:30 Eastern. And a doubleheader on Sunday, beginning at 1 o'clock Eastern. Great stars of the game, and you'll see them on CBS. All the way to the NBA Finals, which you'll see exclusively on CBS as the drama just begins. 9:02 remaining. The foul was on Danny Ainge, his 4th personal foul. It's been seesaw now, 6 lead changes, but most of them in the last 2 minutes. Jordan working against Ainge now. And Jordan, if he was hit on the hand, it looked like he lost control of the ball, but he was pushed. And if that's on Ainge, that's 5 on Dan. That is. Did McHale have an assist on this?
Well, Danny is trying to stay one-on-one with him, bodies him. That's the wrong thing to do, to body him. And then McHale pushes Ainge into Michael Jordan.
That was on Ainge.
A lot of fouls called on the 2 guards defending against Jordan right now. They're trying to save Dennis Johnson for the stretch against Michael Jordan. Having Ainge play him now.
42 points. That's what you want. You want Dennis Johnson to be there down the stretch. And he has 5 on the bench. Inside to McHale. See you later. You overplay against McHale, and he gets the ball. Just count it. And the Celtics regain the lead. 25 for Kevin McHale.
Boston is really having trouble getting pace going because there's so much poise right now by the Bulls to get the shot they want.
Jordan misses. Woolridge has the rebound. Chicago Bulls are playing as if they've been in the playoffs every year for 10 years. Sidney Green misses, and finally the Celtics get it, and McHale the rebound. The Celtics' biggest lead was 2-0, and now they can open up a 3-point lead. Walton, great inside move. Passes to Bird, doubled quickly. Good rotation for Chicago. Dennis Johnson into the ballgame. Sidney Green is fouled. Going for the ball with 7:50 remaining. Stan Albeck's reaction to the action.
I like the way his tie flops up and down. And he's got a hop in his step too, huh?
Larry Bird with his 4th personal foul. Look at the litany of fouls we've got here. We've got Walton with 5, Ainge with 5, Dennis Johnson with 5, Harris with 4, Bird with 4.
Maybe that's what that isolation game is doing, is drawing attention to the individual one-on-one defender. And the move for Casey Jones might be to try and really take the ball out of the hands of a Woolrich or a Michael Jordan with double teams.
7:50 to go, and a lot can happen. But here's a team, the Chicago Bulls, who lost 52 games. This is the first time a team has made the playoffs with 50 or more losses since the Bulls did it in '68. And they're tied in Philadelphia. And I'd have to say the 76ers, you want to use the old cliche, backs against the wall. They're against the wall now. Can't afford to go down 2-0. With 2 more games coming up. Bird goes for 3. Celtics lead 102-100. They were down by 1. Now they're up by 2. 32 points for Larry Bird. We told you about Bird and Jordan at the start. Block. Paxson has a shot blocked, and Ainge will get an easy basket. Albeck wants a timeout. With 7 minutes and 12 seconds remaining in the 4th period, the Boston Celtics have their biggest lead of the ball game now. 4 points.
A Venus flytrap defense. They invite you in, close up on you, and then chew you up and spit you out. And out comes the ball, and the Celtics converted that into a fast break opportunity with nobody on Danny Ainge for the layup. Now, this type of Boston trying to create tempo at this point. They got to do it with defense. Chicago has really got the pace of the game exactly where they want it.
John Paxson guarded by Dennis Johnson. Michael Jordan guarded by Danny Ainge, who's shadowing him. They're isolated.
Game of isos right now.
Isolation. They double team now. Walton has come out to meet Jordan. Jordan trying to use his quickness, and it works. Michael Jordan with 44 now in the ball game.
And Walton afraid to foul that time. Backed off Jordan a little bit.
Walton with 5. Next foul, and he's gone. Oakley in there. Guarding Walton. Woolridge on Bird. Bird with 34. Keep in mind, Bird didn't get his first points until 15.5 minutes were gone into the game. And the 2 stars we talked about at the top have not disappointed a soul. Walton trying to double now, picking up Jordan. Jordan isolated one-on-one. They come out. Basket, no. No basket. The foul before. And Bill Walton is fouled out of the ball game, I believe. Walton is fouled out of the ball game and has played tremendously for the Boston Celtics today.
Little pick and roll action forces Walton to end up with Michael Jordan, and he alertly knows that Walton's in foul trouble and has a good opportunity to take it to the hoop. Now Walton kind of bumped him before the shot was taken.
Jordan misses the first. Walton 10 points and 15 rebounds today. Jordan hit his first 16 from the line before he missed there. And he misses both of them. Is that fatigue?
I think it might be, Dick. But you got to miss some free throws once in a while. I think Jordan right now, they did a great job of not asking him to do too much too early.
Just under 6 minutes to go, 4th period. Celtics leading by 4. And they'll call the foul away from the ball. Michael Jordan, 2 fouls on Jordan. Parrish in the ball game. He's playing with 4 fouls. Bill Walton fouled out of the ball game. Dennis Johnson is playing with 5. Bird triple teamed all of a sudden. Paxson gets back to Johnson. And a good, quick defensive move by Paxson.
Yeah, but DJ didn't swing the ball like they normally do to the wide-open Danny Ainge, who's had a hot hand here.
Jordan cuts the Celtic lead to 2, and he has 46 points. 5:23 remaining. Keep in mind, the Boston Celtics went into this game with a 41-1 record at Boston Garden, including Game 1 victory over Chicago on Thursday. Corzine on McHale. Double again with Paxson. Parrish in a crowd. Jordan the rebound. And Chicago, knowing when to double, alertly playing good team defense.
Confusing them. The Celtics are not aware all the time of where the double is actually coming from and who the open man is.
Bird winds up with the ball and gets it to Ainge. 3-on-1 Boston. Johnson to Ainge and a whistle. Chicago foul as Ainge is slow getting up. This is kind of playoff intensity as John Paxson.
You know, that was a pretty good no call on Bird with that outlet pass. Was going down when he made that outlet pass. They easily could have called a foul on that, but the Celtics still didn't get a hoop out of it and not a free throw either.
Parrish gets free. Parrish with only 8 points in the ball game, his first point since the opening period. But it's good enough to give the Celtics a 4-point lead, 108-104. Nearly 4.5 to play. Jordan is short. McHale lead pass. Paxson tops it over, and Ainge was hit in the eye. Jordan brings it up. Ainge staggered for the moment, and a foul called against Bird. Paxson was shaken up, and so is Danny Ainge.
That was a collision on that long McHale outlet pass. A great athletic move here by Paxson to go over the top of Ainge, and then Ainge gets hit in the jaw by Paxson's elbow, and Paxson really took a header too. 2 down and 8 to go.
Larry Bird was called for his 5th personal foul.
I have never seen as many fouls called in a game like this. I'm going to see Bird on this outlet pass right now. Somebody's got him. They're holding him. That's where I said before they could have called the foul.
Corzine.
They're going Corzine, which wasn't called, and it was like maybe a good no call because the officials felt that the Celtics had a good fast break advantage.
Chicago's been missing from the line as of late. Something they can't afford to do here. Trailing by 4 with 4:23 to go. 1 out of 2 for Charles Oakley. So Bird with 5 fouls. Dennis Johnson has 5. Walton is fouled out of the game. Parrish, who has 4s on easy street compared to the others. 4:11 remaining. Bird feeding Parrish. Blocked. A block by Woolridge, I believe, or Jordan. We'll check. Chicago with a chance to cut it to 1.
What a morale builder that defensive stint was for the Bulls.
Jordan. Looks like lately the Bulls have been going to Jordan like they did at the start of the last game. Here he is, the move and the basket. And it's a 1-point game as Stan Albeck urges his team on. 108-107, not much time to go in the 4th. This is not the time, though. I mean, I don't know, Tom, what do you think, to ignore the other guys, because you're going to need somebody.
Well,
did Jordan do it himself?
I think Jordan is the guy to go to right now at this phase portion of the game. But the Celtics got to find somebody.
Ainge with a fake on Corzine. Hits the shot. 3-point lead again for Boston.
It looks to me like the Bulls are going to double anything down low that the Celtics try to use McHale or Parrish. So it may end up in a lap of Danny Ainge and Dennis Johnson to win this ball game for the Celtics.
Jordan feeding Corzine. Hook shot, good. Corzine, they've rarely gone to him. 6 points in the game for the veteran. And it's 110-109. But it's been the Bird and Jordan show. Bird with 34. Michael Jordan has 48 on top of his 49 in game 1 on Thursday night.
Using that little pick and roll beautifully up top, Jordan and Corzine.
There's the time. McHale misses the shot, and the rebound by Oakley. And now Chicago looking to take the lead. Bulls led most of the way. 11-point bulge in the first half, a 10-point lead in the second half. Celtics have fought back. Jordan, short jumper, and it drops, and 50 points for Michael Jordan. That's what Dominique Wilkins had for the Atlanta Hawks yesterday.
You get him moving left, and he's still, you think you're going to have an advantage. He's got to bring the ball back to you, but his leaping ability normally takes you right over the top.
11 on the clock, into Parrish, foul. Jordan is saying it was before the shot. And that will result in a timeout with 2:10 to go on the clock of this heated affair. Tommy, let's see the Chicago Bulls do it at both ends of the floor in the sequence.
Well, you've got to have a good rotating weak side of your defense. That's Michael Jordan. And he gets over there beautifully to start, and that was a morale builder. Then he comes up the other end, and Kevin McHale playing poor defense, shows him the baseline with no help, and with that leaping ability, Jordan powers it through. Little pick and roll allows Corzine to get into the pack, and against Bird to throw up this swooping hook shot. So the heads of the Bulls are into this win.
2:10 remaining. 111-110, Chicago leading. Parrish, guarded by Oakley. Give and go to Danny Ainge, and a foul with 2:01 on the clock. And Charles Oakley has picked up his 5th personal foul. The rookie from Virginia Union, who's been as good as any rookie the second half of this year. Better than most. Ainge. Rare miss for Danny Ainge, a 90%er from the line. Now we'll try to tie it up for the Celtics.
A very cocky kid, loves to be in these type of situations.
We want to welcome the audience that saw the Washington Bullets and the Philadelphia 76ers. This is Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn. We're under 2 minutes to go in a tie game. The Celtics trying to take a 2-0 lead over the Bulls. The 76ers are 1-1 now with their victory over Washington. Michael Jordan has been a sensational show again. 52 points for Michael Jordan, and Chicago leads by 2. The leading scorers in this game, Michael Jordan and Larry Bird. And the Bulls are within 134 of becoming only the 2nd team to beat the Celtics in the Garden this year. Harris, McHale, offensive rebound, knocked out of bounds. Celtics wanted goaltending. Jordan knocked it out of bounds. No call from the officials.
Dick, we've seen the Bulls control the tempo of this game practically for the entire length, slow it down, and get the type of offense they wanted.
And a timeout called by the Celtics. It's come down to this in the Boston Garden. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn with 1:25 remaining in the final period, and the Chicago Bulls lead by 2. The timeout story and the fouls situation, which has played a major role here. Bill Walton has already fouled out for the Boston Celtics. Dennis Johnson, Danny Ainge, and Larry Bird have 5. Oakley with 5, and a host of people with 4. 4 may not be that much of a factor now unless we go into overtime. Want to remind you the final round action of the Heritage coming up next on CBS. Michael Jordan topped his first game effort. He has 52 points, and Roger Maltby has a 2-stroke lead at the Heritage. Jordan, by the way, also 16 points in this period.
Celtics trying to find the matchup that can be the most productive. They try to use McHale. Corzine did a decent job on him. Now they're going to, I think, maybe go to Parrish.
10 on the clock. Double on Parrish. Dennis Johnson penetrates, draws the foul, and gets the basket. Big play by Dennis Johnson. Can you imagine he didn't make the All-Star team? There may not be a more clutch backcourt performer in the league all around than Dennis Johnson.
As a double team, they left Dennis Johnson, and he took it to the pack, and Paxson did not get over there quite quick enough. Dennis scored, got a chance for the 3-point play.
So tough as a penetrating guard because he's 6'5" and he's got that solid body.
Well, he didn't take the outside shot. He took it to the hoop.
A tough penetrator. Celtics by 1. All eyes on Jordan with 52. Short, but there's Oakley fighting inside. No foul, blocked. Robert Parrish picks it off, and the Celtics, with under a minute to go, has the lead by 3. Make it 114. Now it's 3. Ainge to McHale. .27 for Kevin McHale. Those big guys run down the middle of the floor. They get open. It's been the Celtics story this year.
You're going to see Danny Ainge make a very intuitive play to Kevin McHale. He's going to make it look like a shot to get the defense to relax, and just lays it out there as nice as can be for Kevin McHale. What a key pass at a key point in the ball game.
Next Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, and a doubleheader Sunday starting at 1 o'clock. CBS will bring you the playoffs. Kevin McHale, the latest hero. And the Chicago Bulls have talked things over. 116 to 113, 45 seconds to go. Tommy?
Well, if it doesn't go to Michael Jordan, I'll be very surprised. But what they really have to do, the Celtics will be jumping at him, is on the shot by Jordan. If he misses, everybody bang the board.
Paxson. Borzine in the corner, inside to Oakley, and a foul. Parrish, that'll be his 5th personal foul, 5 on Robert Parrish. So they went to someone else other than Michael Jordan and Casey Jones.
Well, they beat the Boston press, and here's Oakley underneath, and there was the foul on Parrish. Bird had a hand on the ball. Boston went up and challenged Michael Jordan.
Oakley 66% from the line on the year, 4 for 5 today.
Well, when they pushed it up, the rest of the defense of the Celtics wasn't into play. Good move by Paxson to create it.
And the Celtics lead by 2. And now Chicago has to play defense right here and not allow the Celtics to score and perhaps not to foul. They'll get another possession. 23 seconds and 11 on the shot clock. Bird guarded by Woolridge. Bird fires it up blindly. Parrish loses it to Oakley. And there are 8 seconds to go, and Chicago calls timeout with 6 on the clock. A 2-point ball game. Chicago. Larry Bird threw up a wild shot. Parrish seemingly had the ball, and there was Stan Albeck looking on as Oakley ultimately wound up with the ball.
That was a 4-hop play. And Stan, right on it, calls the timeout. But here's Bird being double teamed. I think he was really hoping he'd get a foul call that time. Parrish has the rebound, and a nice knockaway by Jordan right into the hands of Oakley. Well, they got the ball to the man they wanted, Larry Bird. Not the best judgment that time. He thought he might have gotten fouled. That's why he let it fly.
All right, so 6 seconds to go, Tommy. The obvious thing is to let Michael Jordan do it, either outside or inside. He has a career high of 52 points. Tremendous effort by Michael Jordan. What are the options now for Stan Albeck other than Michael Jordan, or is that it?
Well, he's your #1 guy that can get by a man, but all the Celtics are going to be running at him. If they can get the ball to him quickly, they'll be able to get a shot, a quick shot, and a potential rebound. More for the fact that the Celtics will be concerned about him. That's why I want the ball in his hands and hope that he makes the shot. If not, you got almost a guaranteed shot at a good rebound opportunity.
Bulls have 1 timeout left. They led most of the way in this game, 11 in the first half, 10 in the second. Celtics whittled the lead. They were down by 3 after 3 period and open up a lead of no more than 4 points with 7 minutes to go and a little less than that. And Chicago fought back, had the score tied it a couple of times. They went back and forth, and now it's a 2-point game. The other question is, as Kyle Macy takes his jacket off, do you go for 3 and try to gamble and win it all here?
Well, you might, because the 3-point play for Kyle Macy is an easy shot. And that penetration by Jordan might create that, but he also may make the basket himself and get the foul. They got a couple of ways they can score 3 points here.
They have 1 timeout left, 6 seconds to go. Paxson will inbound. And now the Celtics call a timeout. Is there something they saw?
The lineup on the inbound play, I think, and who's in the ball game. They just recognized Macy was in there, I believe, and now they said, let's talk it over what we're going to do with Macy.
Now, what could they do with Macy? Now they have several possibilities for outside shots, Jordan and Macy being just 2 of them.
Well, by putting Macy in the ball game, what you have is the potential of the defense extending.
All right, we'll be back with the finish. The Chicago Bulls have given the Boston Celtics a tremendous battle today, but need 2 points to tie, perhaps 3 to win with 6 seconds to go. Michael Jordan with a career high of 52 points on the heels of 49 in game 1. Larry Bird with 34 points and 11 rebounds today. And talking about whether to go for 3 or 2, keep in mind that Bird has 5 fouls, Parrish has 5, Walton's out of the game. Chicago may be better off going for 2, but who knows?
They got Paxson and Macy in there. By having them in the lineup, that might extend the Celtics defense. Wedman is in for Boston for defensive purposes.
That's the change the Celtics made. Michael Jordan working against Dennis Johnson. Clock running down, 3 seconds, 3-point shot, no good. And a foul, late sweep. A foul against Kevin McHale has been called by Middleton with no time showing on the clock. Kevin McHale can't believe it. Kevin McHale has been called for the foul on Michael Jordan from 8 feet beyond the 3-point line.
I have to see it myself. Here's Kevin coming all the way, and we didn't see what actually happened, but players do fake the foul.
He can tie it up here and send the game in overtime. No time remaining. He made his first 16, then missed 2 before he made the 1, and this is pressure. Overtime in game 2 of our best-of-5 first-round NBA playoff. And the Chicago Bulls are trying to do what only the Portland Trail Blazers have done so far this year, beat the Celtics in Boston.
We're going to see it. We can't really see whether Kevin McHale fouled him or not, but boy, that shot, McHale has to go out there to react. And whether the foul actually took place or not, I couldn't see because I was following the flight of the ball too. So McHale didn't think so. He was telling Larry Bird that when he went by, Jordan stuck out his arm and knocked himself down, but Stan Olbeck sees it the other way, of course.
Sam Vincent had a bird's eye low view of all this, but
that's an ant's view.
The thing is that everyone was looking at the ball with the exception of the official. One official was checking the ball. The other one was out there. Now, if you want to know whether the officials were in position to call it, the answer is yes. Ed Middleton was no more than 5 feet from Michael Jordan when he took the shot. In any event, we're going to overtime. And Michael Jordan with 54 points, a career high, and 5-minute overtime session. Each team has 3 timeouts. Boston still has a 20. He'll jump center with Woolridge jumping against Parrish. On the 4th foul, the team will get into the bonus. And the foul trouble situation becomes major now, as we have a slew of players with 5. Celtics control. Their biggest lead was 4. Biggest lead for the Bulls was 11 in the first half. McHale against Corzine, doubled with Jordan. Loses the ball. Recovers it. Bird. Ainge. And Corzine holds on for the rebound.
As that double team again, they had trouble finding the open man. Kevin McHale normally is able to find and locate that open man.
Jordan's 54 points ties John Havlicek for the 4th best individual single game effort in playoff history. Long range, Jordan hits it, 56 for Jordan, and that ties the Chicago Bulls all-time leader, Bob Love, who had 56 in a game. And the Bulls lead by 2.
That kind of answers your question about whether it's tied or not. You don't start hitting outside shots like that at the tail end of a ball game if you're tied. I think he was used wisely in the offense in the early part of the game by Stan Olbeck.
Pick and roll, Harris. Rebound by Oakley. And Chicago, with a little more than a minute gone by, with a 2-point lead and content to walk it up floor. 1-0 Celtics lead in the best-of-5. Philadelphia, Washington are tied 1-1 in their best-of-5 series.
That pick and roll is working beautifully for the Bulls.
Woolridge over Ainge, short. McHale clears, and the Celtics looking to tie it up. Bird, Ainge. That's what they didn't do most of the game, Tommy, run the floor.
It takes willpower to create tempo, to push it at the defense. They've been playing at the rhythm of the Bulls all afternoon long.
Ainge 20 points in the ball game. Bird leads with 34. Jordan is 56. 10 on the clock. Woolridge going in strong. No basket. They call him for the offensive foul. And that'll be 5 on Orlando Woolridge. So Woolridge and Oakley have 5 fouls for Chicago. Bird, Parrish, Dennis Johnson, and Danny Ainge all with 5 for the Celtics. And they're all on the floor. Bird trying to feed inside. It's still Celtic ball with 2:55 on the clock. Ainge, baseline, fires it up. Bird loses the ball inside, and Oakley got a piece of that one. 118, 2:45 remaining in overtime. Jordan hit 2 free throws with no time on the clock to send it into OT. Throws up a wild shot here. Celtics trying to take the lead, 2-on-1. Parrish is fouled by Paxson. So this is where we are. Game 2, and the drama is not over yet here at the Garden. Philadelphia and Washington are 1-1. The Nets and Milwaukee play later, with the Milwaukee Bucks leading 1-0 in their best of 5, and Atlanta will take a 2-0 lead to Detroit this week in their series.
The Celtics right now on that defense were trying to disrupt the rhythm of the Bulls offense by doubling people, taking the ball out of the hands of the people the Bulls want to have the ball. Michael Jordan, Woolridge, and it's creating a little confusion for the Bulls. They're not going to get the good shots, it looks like, but Boston has to convert.
1-point lead for the Bulls. Jordan and Johnson fighting for the loose ball. You want to talk about macho pride for offense and defense right there. And the Bulls will have it with 17 seconds on the clock, leading by 1. Check that, the Celtics lead 119-118. Free throw by Parrish, the difference right now. Woolridge going up strong, and it's Chicago now, 120-119.
Sit back and watch this one. They're taking shots at each other. Haymakers.
This crowd is quiet. Parrish lost it to Corzine, and under 2 minutes to go, Chicago with a 1-point lead and the ball. This is a team that lost 52 games this year. The worst record of any team in the playoffs. Celtics with the best record in the league, 67-15. They're this close. 3 on the shot clock. Jordan, basket, good, and a foul. And a big basket for the Chicago Bulls. And Jordan could give them a 4-point lead. 58 for Michael Jordan.
Why isn't he tired right now? Well, 2 things, I think. 1, he missed a great portion of the season. He doesn't have the normal fatigue. And 2, they used him very wisely in the offense in the first part of the game.
Dennis Johnson has, let's see, fouled out of the ball game, and Jerry Seasting has come in. He fouls out with 15 points. 59 for Michael Jordan. Second best playoff ever in a single game to Elgin Baylor's 61. We could see an all-time record established. Seasting in a crowd. Ball away. Basket good and a foul. Jerry Seasting with 3 or 4 men on him, and he's only 6'1", made a big basket for Boston.
And he did something that the rest of the Celtics have not been doing. He faked when he got into the defense, lifted people, and then took the shot. Smart play by Jerry Seasting.
Foul on Jordan is 4th. Seasting misses the free throw. Parrish and Seasting each have missed 1 important free throw here. Otherwise, this game would be tied. Final round of the Heritage coming up after this game. 123-121 Chicago in overtime. Jordan. And Bird got a hand on it. Great play by Larry Bird as he anticipated the pass out by Jordan. And the Celtics are looking to tie or lead. Bird, Parrish, foul. That was the only play Chicago had, and even the Celtics are off their chairs.
Here he comes, Bird cuts off Jordan at the baseline. They turned him loose, pushed him underneath the basket. The ball, a pass out, hit the net, so it ends up in the hands of Robert Parrish. But I'll tell you this is one rugged overtime period and 4th quarter. I'll tell you, they're going at each other physically. They're banging.
Chicago calls a timeout, and Parrish has one free throw to try to tie it up with 59 seconds to go in OT. Michael Jordan, 59 points. Elgin Baylor, the all-time single-game performance of 61. That's ever against the Celtics, regular season and playoff. And Baylor's 61 was against the Celtics in a playoff game in April of 62. And that's the top performance in a playoff game, and Jordan is 2 points away from that. Meanwhile, Robert Parrish is on the line with one free throw to try to tie the game now.
Well, they put the freeze on him, trying to chill him down. Let's see if Robert responds to the challenge.
He hit one of two before, makes them both here. They're tied at 123. 59 seconds to go. They were even at 116 apiece in overtime going into the session. Jordan over Ames. Bird the rebound. Celtics with 20 on the shot clock. And it's knocked away from Bird. He recovers. Looking for anything, even a foul. Goes up, and he travels. Larry Bird traveled. And to Chicago's credit, they surrounded him in a hurry.
Well, they were poking at the ball, and Larry really was looking over both shoulders to see where they were coming from, and that's what caused the walk.
21 on the shot clock, a 13-second differential. And the Bulls with a chance to take the lead. Woolridge against McHale, going in against both. Tipped up and in, and it was Corzine with the tip-in. And with 22 seconds to go, the Bulls lead again, 125-123. And the Celtics will call a timeout and 15 seconds to try to tie it or win it in a fantastic playoff game from Boston Garden.
We're going to look at Dave Corzine right here. Robert Parrish is supposed to block him off the boards, but he gets mesmerized by the penetration, and he lets Corzine step inside, and he uses it to good advantage for a beautiful key tip-in to put the Bulls ahead by 2.
And here it was. Dave Corzine, one of the unsung leaders on a team, maligned at home by the Chicago crowd with as big a basket as he's ever had. 8 points and 8 rebounds. 15 seconds to go for the Celtics to try to tie it or win it, trailing by 2. Bird inbounding. McHale, Ames with a fake, goes all the way in and ties it with 12 seconds left. Chicago still has 2 timeouts. They'll use one of them now. It looked like Ainge had easy sailing for that tying layup.
Well, they were looking to play Ainge for the pass, and once he got past Michael Jordan, everybody went back to their own man, thinking he was going to penetrate and then pass. Nobody really made a real commitment to him, so he just said, why not? I'll go all the way, particularly Oakley.
Danny Ainge with 22 points, all in the second half, as Bill Walton, who fouled out of the game, leading the cheers. But now the focus is on the Chicago Bulls. This is first round playoff action. Tonight, playoff action continues on several fronts in the NBA. The Milwaukee Bucks host the New Jersey Nets, with Milwaukee leading 1-0. Denver is at home with a 1-0 lead over the Portland Trail Blazers, and Dallas will try to make it 2 in a row at Reunion Arena against Utah. Stan Albeck, who coached the Spurs, coached Cleveland before that, and the Nets in his first year in Chicago in a topsy-turvy year with Quentin Daly suspended with a drug problem and injuries to a lot of people, including Jordan, who missed 64 games. He didn't really have his true team until the last couple of weeks.
And this game here, they are functioning so well and in developing the roles that I didn't think that they would be able to do, but they have really been outstanding today.
Let's not forget Jawan Oldham, the 7-foot center, who is one of the top shot blockers in the NBA, who, if the series goes to 4 games, would be eligible to come back. And Oldham has had a broken cheekbone. He missed the last 18 games, and if Chicago can win here, he'll get a chance to play against the Celtics. But they haven't won this. It's 125 all, 12 seconds to go in the first overtime session.
Well, is Michael Jordan going to get it again? The Celtics are trying to keep the ball away from him. And it goes to Corzine.
He's got to get rid of it. Here's Jordan. Jordan with a jump shot. Jordan misses the shot. 2 seconds to go, and the Celtics call a time. They'll get a chance to win it once more. The first regulation ended when Michael Jordan missed a three-pointer and was fouled by McHale and hit 2 free throws with no time remaining. And now Boston can have the last laugh. Tommy, it looked like Jordan had his shot here.
They did get him the ball. Corzine said, I'm going to get it to you, and he does, and he's wide open. You can't ask for a better shot than that from a player of Jordan's caliber, but he misses. And Bird alertly calls timeout.
Bird with 34, McHale 27, Ainge 22 all this half. We'll get to the heritage as soon as this one is history. What does Boston do now with 2 seconds on the clock?
Some kind of pass, either dead in the corner, I think, for Larry Bird, or a lob pass over the top close to the basket, maybe to McHale. But they've got Seasting in there, who might also, or Wedman, for that outside bomb. That's what you're hoping to get right now. I think the lob is out of the question.
Ainge will inbound. Last year, the Celtics were hard-pressed by the Cleveland Cavaliers. They went to 4 games, but they were tough games. Banks comes in the game replacing Oakley, Tom.
For quickness purposes, to get out there against the outside shooters.
Ainge will inbound. Bird has it. 1 second to go. If it counts, it's over. And we go to second overtime. Larry Bird coming off a screen. Had the same kind of a shot he hit on that wild three-pointer, and we go to double overtime here at Boston Garden. The score, 125-125.
He slips right behind the defense and gets in there. They go to double team him, but Woolwich was right on his shooting hand. And he back rims it. I mean, those are prayer shots, of course, but both teams had their best shooters, best players taking that outside shot. Neither one made it. Watch it from another angle. There's Woolwich right on the shooting hand.
Tommy, I know that we're not into the finals and the drama of the finals, but you know, this is kind of like the shades of the Boston Celtics and the Phoenix Suns in a 3 overtime game that you remember. Remember that one?
I remember it very well. I'll tell you, I fainted in the locker room after that one. I don't think it's going to happen to me tonight.
No, you won't faint because you're in good shape right now. But we have seen a marvelous game, because there's no question that the Boston Celtics had the height advantage with that great front line. Chicago really hasn't had the unit. And, you know, while we give the Bulls a lot of credit for staying in and sending this game to double overtime, they had many chances to win, and the Celtics just would not allow it. And they've been the team that has been in more foul trouble than the Bulls today.
I think the Bulls have played the game exactly the way they wanted to. The Celtics were not able to break the rhythm of the tempo of the game that the Bulls established. Never got pace into it, never got any easy baskets. The Celtics sometimes feel that we've got the best low post players to go to all those matchups. We'll win it that way. It didn't work out that way so far.
All right, now we go to a second overtime. Now, as the game goes on, is there any kind of emphasis that maybe shifts when you get into a second 5-minute session?
Well, I think right now Danny Ainge is saddled with 5 fouls, and if he ends up fouling out, one of their good outside shooters goes by the boards, and then Rick Carlisle or somebody else maybe will have to come in, David Thirdkill, to try and play Jordan, and that could be a big
The
factor. inside game, I don't see any of those guys fouling out for the Celtics.
Walton has fouled out as you look at Red Auerbach and Don Gaston. Don Gaston, one of the owners, along with Alan Cohn, Paul DePee. Bird with 5 fouls, Parrish with 5, Ainge with 5. Walton and Dennis Johnson have already fouled out for Chicago. Charles Oakley and Orlando Woolridge both have 5 personal fouls. So Parrish and Woolridge will jump again, and they've done this before. Middleton will toss it up. 5 minutes. 3 timeouts apiece. Boston still has a 20 that they have at their behest. And penalty and bonus on the 4th team foul.
And they're going right at Danny Ainge, it looks like, or try to.
Ainge is guarding Jordan inside right now. Oakley comes outside. Now Woolridge gets it into Corzine, and Bird steals the ball. Came around, snuck around, and knocked it out of the hands of Corzine.
They had Michael Jordan posting up Danny Ainge, and they turned that option down.
Bird, 3-pointer from the corner. Oakley. All Chicago red shirts underneath, and now the Bulls will slow it up and set it up here. Michael Jordan has 59 points, and the most points scored in one game ever in the playoffs is 61 by Elgin Baylor. Jordan missed. Corzine loses it. Here comes Ames as Bird gets it out to him. Paxson is back. Seasting open. Woolridge, a good play to get to him. A minute gone by. Bird hits, and the Celtics lead, and it took a minute and 5 seconds to do it.
Seasting, real good poise to hold up and find Larry Bird.
36 points for Larry Bird. Seasting on Paxson. McHale giving Woolridge that shot. Woolridge going into the hoop, doubles with Bird and scores nonetheless. And 24 points now for Orlando Woolridge, and we're tied.
Well, they're saying, Orlando, you're going to win it for us in the second overtime. Let Michael take a little blow.
Speaking of Orlando, he's on Bird. Great inside move. Ball knocked away, and it was last hit off of Woolridge, who was out of bounds. So the Celtics will maintain possession. 12 seconds on the shooting clock. Oakley, Corzine, Jordan, Paxson, and Woolridge are out there for Chicago. Parrish, Bird, Seasting, Ainge, and McHale from Boston. Bird, double him in a hurry. Seasting is open. Celtics by 2.
Now that is absolutely the wrong guy to leave on a double team right now, because Bird is going to look for him.
And a little trap action defensively by the Celtics, but Paxson brings it across. Under 3 minutes to go in the second overtime session. We were 116 apiece after regulation, 125 all after 1 overtime. Corzine, no basket, traveled before the shot. He moved that back foot, and now the Celtics with a 2-point lead and possession.
Little pick and roll play is causing the Celtics trouble. They're switching onto Michael Jordan, and Corzine is getting a mismatch against a little guy.
McHale, Seasting all alone in 3-point territory. Bird coming out. Bird throws it away. Long pass, Woolridge. Woolridge in the crowd, blocked by McHale. Loose ball out of bounds. And it's Celtics possession. You know, Tommy, you wonder whether the Celtics, looking for 3 points, are saying to themselves, we've had enough of this Chicago team. Let's just blow them out here.
Well, they got to go find some place to get that shot. Seasting's the guy. They should be looking on a double team.
McHale finds Seasting. Quick pass. Good one. Ames. Timeout, Chicago. The biggest lead of the game for the Boston Celtics, with just under 2 minutes remaining in second overtime. 262nd consecutive sellout at Boston Garden are seeing a gem today. We're back here, 1:59 to go, 131, 127. The noise, too much for this young tyke. But he'll take it. This is the excitement of the game. So now it's 131, 127. Chicago has the ball, and keep in mind that man Michael Jordan, who has 59 points, has missed his last 4 shots.
Well, he finally might be getting tired.
No.
You don't think so?
No, I'm kidding. He should have been tired an hour and a half ago. Ainge guarding Michael Jordan. Jordan goes up with a shot and hits it, and has 61 points to tie Elgin Baylor's all-time single-game playoff record that he established against these Celtics 24 years ago. McHale working against Corzine. And Jordan the rebound, and with a minute and a half to play in 2 overtimes, Chicago looking to tie.
And the Bulls took off the double team that time in respect for Seasting and Ainge's outside shooting.
Jordan with 8 on the clock. Jordan ties the game.
Oh, boy.
63 points, and you're looking at an all-time record.
Oh, boy.
Michael Jordan.
That was a fantastic move. I mean, he went over 3 guys that time.
No one has ever scored more points in a single playoff game in NBA history than Michael Jordan. A minute to go, and tied at 131. 7 on the shot clock. McHale to Seasting, open. And And the Celtics regain the lead. And if you don't think Jerry Seasting has been maybe the missing ingredient to the Celtics this year, just see what he's done in this game. 8 points, but big 8 points. And incredible shooting.
He went down and doubled at the last instant, and Seasting got the easy shot. He's going to make those.
McHale is on Jordan now with 6 on the clock. He missed. Parrish, the rebound. Not to be denied, he grabbed it away from Oakley. Celtics with 24 seconds to go. And 17 on the shot clock. Lead by 2, and this is a critical possession. How many times have we said that? 10 on the clock. Bird, pick and roll, Parrish. May have done it. He didn't do much most of the game, was in foul trouble, but when they needed the Chief, he was there to hit the big basket. But first came his big rebound at the other end.
I'll tell you, a big rebound, and somebody hit him at the ankles, I think. The great timing, and as Oakley going down, getting his foot trapped, got it up the court. A little pick and roll. He goes strong to the hoop and just straight up with it. That's pressure basketball, making the big ones when they count.
They got 9 seconds remaining to the Bulls and 1 timeout, and they need 2 possessions, really. A 3-pointer, and they need a possession again.
I was very impressed with the real confidence of Jerry Seasting at key points. It's going to give Casey Jones, if he hasn't already got a world of confidence in Seasting, to use him in real key situations down the stretch. He might end up in the playoffs being the designated double team breaker when the Celtics really try to exploit that inside game.
They'll go to Chicago to play what the Bulls hope, if they do not come back and win this one, 2 games at Chicago Stadium. It's a best of 5. The Celtics are 9 seconds away from taking a 2-0 lead, but they won't escape out of here without the fight of their lives, especially on their home turf, where they have lost only 1 time all year. Washington and Philadelphia are tied 1-1 in their series. Atlanta has a 2-0 lead over Detroit, and Milwaukee will try to take a 2-0 lead over the Nets later tonight. Next weekend, we'll be with you Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, and then a doubleheader Sunday, beginning at 1 o'clock Eastern, as the NBA playoffs on CBS continue.
You know, the other surprise is that Danny Ainge has not fouled out with Michael Jordan handling that ball.
Bird
so
didn't
much.
foul out either.
Well, I'm saying Ainge played very smart defense. He knew he had to stay in this game.
Especially with Dennis Johnson fouling out.
Right.
9 seconds to go. Chicago needs a quick basket, a foul. Hope the Celtics miss if they don't get a steal. And now the Celtics use a foul and chop off a second. Next foul will result in the bonus, so they had 1 foul to give in the overtime. Paxson looking inbound. Woolridge, 6 seconds. Woolridge for 3, way short, throws up an air ball, and the Celtics will have it with 4 seconds to go. And a hard-fought victory for the Boston Celtics to take a 2-0 lead over Chicago in their best of 5. Our Miller Lite most valuable player of the game is Michael Jordan, with an all-time record 63 points in a single playoff game. Coming up, final round action from the Heritage. So for Tom Heinsohn and Pat O'Brien, Dick Stockton saying so long from Boston Garden. The final score, the Celtics 135, the Bulls 131. The NBA on CBS has been a presentation of CBS Sports.